Thank you for coming out this evening. We always start our meeting with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Etobicoke Prince Edward Island is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Call to order. Any declarations of conflict of interest? None. Now, I know we have some changes to the agenda. Councillor McKinnon, Councillor McCabe, and Councillor McKinnon, just go there, please. Yep.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have another commitment to attend tonight, so I'm asking if environment sustainability can be moved up to the top if possible.
Okay, so that's number 7, 8. Okay. Councillor McCabe?
Thank you. And our interim chief of police has a prior commitment. If we could follow Councillor McKinnon at number 2.
And that's 7.4. Councillor Tweel?
I'd like to move mine up. Still not feeling the very best. Thank you.
And that would be after planning? Is that all right with you? So that's 7.7. Is that okay? Deputy?
Yeah, just what is the order? I'm just out of
So
curiosity.
it would be starting with environment sustainability, a report to be presented by Councillor McKinnon, followed by protective and emergency services presented by Councillor McCabe, and then Councillor Tweel said that he would like to present his after planning. Is that okay? Yeah, no, it's good. Good? Okay? Motion to approve it? Moved by Councillor Bernard, second by Councillor McCabe. All in favor? Okay. So I have adoption of previous minutes, previous draft minutes of council, regular monthly meeting of council, June 9th, 2026. Special meetings of council, June 18th and 23rd, and a public meeting of council, June 18th. Moved by Councillor McCabe, second by Councillor Ramsey. All in favor? Okay. Business arising out of the minutes. Okay, seeing no business arising out of the minutes. Council inquiries to be taken under consideration. Okay. So we'll go right to reports. I see Jessica Corkum Girl. Your report's going to be first. So do you wish to present there, Councillor McKinnon? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. And welcome everybody else that came here tonight in the galley for your support for your issue that's going to be raised later on. Environment Sustainability Committee scheduled to meet on Monday, we met yesterday on July 13th. Minutes will be in your August council package. And I have a few notes. We don't have any resolutions for your consideration tonight. A couple of notes here that we just like to speak upon. We'd like to say a huge thank you to the Rotary Club of Charlottetown for their $1,000 donation to the city's bike bus program. This money was used for buying helmets and bells for the kids who need them. There's a small bicycle library from which students can borrow a bike, student training days, and safety kits for volunteers. On June 17th, in partnership with 10 local businesses, the city planted over 500 trees in Windsor Park. Project was funded in partnership with the businesses and FCM's Growing Canada's Community Canopies program. With the support of volunteers, 250 trees and native plants were planted at River Ridge Park, which was void of tree cover. The project was funded by Green Communities Canada and reflects our commitment to protecting biodiversity and restoring wildlife habitat. To restore Victoria Park's natural areas, thousands of invasive plants were removed with more than 700 trees and native plants added. Funding was provided by Trees for Life Canada. Volunteers came from St. Jean Elementary, Sherwood Elementary School, Ecole Francois Biot, Colonel Gray High School, UPEI, and Queen Charlotte Intermediate. There has been a restoration project started at Andrews Mill Pond in Wrights Creek. Invasive species are also being removed, and the area is being replanted with native vegetation coming up in this fall. And that's funded through FCM's Growing Canada's Community Canopies program. 145 large caliper trees were planted on streets throughout the city. These trees provide immediate canopy cover and help regulate air temperature, provide shade and beauty for the city. Environment sustainability staff, the Charlottetown Food Council, and residents planted 150 trees and plants in Johnston Park, creating edible forest modules, and funding was provided by TD Friends of the Environment Foundation. Through the Climate Action Microgrants, over $22,000 was awarded to 10 community-led projects focused on emergency preparedness, water conservation, biodiversity, natural assets, urban agriculture, and more. These projects advance the goals of the Climate Action Plan and build a more resilient and vibrant community. In June, T3 Transit saw the first of 3 service expansions of this year, with improvements on weekday evening services, with a lot of work done on fleet renewal. Proud to implement service improvements based on a 10-year transit plan that we heard from the community. The next 2 service expansions are coming later this summer in the north end of the city. In mid-August, you will see a long-awaited improvement to weekend services, and thank you to all the T3 Transit team. And finally, Charlottetown recorded 124,384 transit rides in June, a slight decrease from June of 2025. In June, the East Royalty Route recorded 1,066 rides, reflecting continued use of expanded transit service as residents become more familiar with service upgrades. So, thank you, Your Worship. That's my report. Manager Jessica's here if there's any questions. Thank you.
Just on the Victoria Park Biodiversity Walk, that's through your department, correct? Is it the last one that's going to be held tomorrow? Is that the last one?
Jessica, I'm not sure. I'll defer that to Jessica.
Just a little, any background on that, if she can provide it?
Thank you to the mayor. I think, are you referring to the BioBlitz walks that staff have organized?
Yeah, Victoria Park tomorrow.
Yes, I don't have the schedule right in front of me. There's 5 in-person dates: Malcolm Dare Community Center, Hillsborough Park, Beach Grove Trail, and Victoria Park.
Yeah.
I don't have the dates in front of me, but I can get it for you.
No, it's a great idea. I think it's on our charlottetownhall.ca portal.
It's all on the website and social media. Yep, thanks.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Councillor McKay, Protective and Emergency Services.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Protective and Emergency Services Committee met on the 16th of June. Those minutes are in your package. We have a second reading to establish the City of Charlottetown excessive feeding wild birds bylaw. We don't have any other resolutions for consideration. If there's any questions, we'll do our best to answer.
Okay. Councillor Twill.
I want to welcome the interim Chief of Police, Darren McDougall. Welcome. I want to raise just a couple of points. One is driving in the city of Charlottetown. Over the past year, maybe the last couple of years, driving has been erratic, it's aggressive, and in some cases dangerous. People are using our, some motors are using our city streets, especially the main entrance ways, as an obstacle course. They're bobbing and weaving and they're speeding. Some motors have changed their exhaust system. I left a meeting here last night. A vehicle went down Kent Street. I thought I was watching the Indianapolis 500. I'm not sure why this is permitted. When I was growing up in this city, if you didn't have the proper exhaust system, you were held to account. We've seemed to move away from that, and it's just like the wild, wild west when it comes to exhaust systems and driving in our city, whether it's main entranceways and even some cases in the neighborhoods. And I think we need to clamp down. I think we need to put in some type of a mechanism where we do a public relations, send out a public relations PSA. Maybe our acting chief could do an interview with the media, informing all motorists that this is not permitted, it's prohibited. And I think we need to take the steps to take the necessary measures. So that's one issue I wanted to bring up, because it is getting out of control, and residents, especially people that are walking down the street, are terrified when they hear these vehicles going down the street with loud noise, and it's unacceptable. Second question I have is, or the second point I want to bring up, and maybe our fire chief can give us a synopsis to where we're at with the third fire station in the northern part of the city. We've talked about the new fire station. Are we close to A, picking a location, B, looking at the drawings in terms of what that facility would look like? And I'm just looking for a status report. Thank you.
Councillor McCabe?
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor Twill, for your question. I think we can ask for sure to get an update on the status. As you know, we just had an interim chief of fire come in that had to get caught up himself and figure out where things were. So we can ask for that to be added to our agenda for an update on where things are with that.
Would the chief have?
I don't think, well, we haven't discussed it at committee yet, so it would probably be good to be vetted through the committee, that we can then bring it to council. There's been no update since the transition, so that's what I'd prefer, if we could do that. I don't think he's prepared to stand up and speak tonight unless you want to. I think that would be the right process, and we can definitely have something for you for our next meeting.
And his first comment?
On the traffic?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We know that traffic is an issue for sure. We have our community police. We have all our police out doing what they can, but I'm sure Intern Chief McDougall has heard that, and that's also something we can talk about and come back with some more information.
Thank you. And as far as, driving in the city of Charlottetown and the bad habits that have been occurring over the last year, last couple of years, I think we really need to put in place some kind of a plan of action. And the traveling public has to know that they're going to be held accountable, that this is unacceptable in our city. Aggressive driving, some cases dangerous driving, and these loud noises from changing the exhaust system from what was originally on these cars being changed with no, again, it's just, they have that freedom, and I'm not sure why it's happened, but we've got to deal with it head on.
Thank you, sir. Councillor McCabe? No?
Yeah, that's fine. And I mean, I think, if you ever drive up St. Peter's Road, I know we have some really great police officers that are doing their due diligence and beyond to make sure that people are being held to follow the rules of the road. With the noise level, I'd have to get updated on that. I don't even know what the rules are with that, but we'll certainly find out a little more information.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor McCabe. I just got a text from Councillor Duran. He cannot make it this evening. He is sick, so he is absent. Okay. Okay. Good? No. You got a second reading? Oh, sorry there, Councillor Beck. Your red light's on there. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Just wondering, Councillor McCabe, if you could add something to your next meeting. It was about 6 months ago that we had the dogs off leash in Victoria Park, and there was some concerns came about through that we dealt with here that came up to our attention. Just wondering if we can get an update from police in terms of where we are with, if there's been other incidents of dogs off leash, the number of cases that might be reported to the Humane Society. I know we have a contract with the Humane Society and the animal protection officers. Just thought if we could look, we're kind of 6 months out, kind of see if there's been any. I know we did a lot of work with Parks and Rec, put a lot of signage up in the park to try and educate people and just trying to get a little bit of an indication of where we are. I haven't heard anything since from anybody. This isn't in response to any particular sort of calls or anything like that. But I think if we could, I think one of the things we talked about back when that was, is that we'd like to have a little bit more regular reporting on that. So if we could have a little bit, if you could add that to your agenda to look at it and get back with a little bit of a snapshot as to where we are with any incidents with the dogs. Thank you.
Councillor McCabe.
Yep. So if you look into the statistics that are provided at the end, you'll see that reported 3, actual 3, year-to-date 27 dog reported incidents. Are you looking for more specific what they want? Okay, can you make note of that? Thank you.
Okay. Good. Okay. CAO, Brad McConnell.
Thank you, Your Worship. City of Charlottetown Feeding Wild Birds Bylaw 2026-FWB-01. The purpose of establishing this bylaw is to regulate the feeding of wild birds in order to prevent nuisances, protect public health and safety, minimize the attraction of pests and wildlife, and to maintain clean, enjoyable properties within the City of Charlottetown. Second reading and adoption. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of Charlottetown Feeding Wild Birds Bylaw, which was read the first time on June 18, 2026, be read a second time, and that the said bylaw now be approved and adopted. Moved by Councillor Julie McCabe and seconded by Councillor Kevin Ramsey.
Shall I carry? Yea or nay? Nay. And the rest is 8-1. Okay? Councillor McKinnon is nay, correct? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Deputy Mayor Alana Yankoff, Planning, Development, and Heritage. Please step up.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, folks. The Design Review Board has not met since our last regular meeting of council. The Planning and Heritage Committee has not met since the last regular meeting of council. Affordable Housing Advisory Committee met on Tuesday, June 9th. Minutes are in your package. Heritage Board met on Monday, June 22nd. Again, the copy of the minutes are in your package. Planning Board met on Tuesday, July 7th. Minutes reports are in your package. And also for information purposes, you will see a listing of the permit applications up to May 2026 and June 2026, along with year-to-date, has been included in your package as well. We have 9 resolutions for your consideration this evening. And so for that reason, I don't have any additional report to add today. I think we should just get right into the business. But I will note that you will see on page 26, it was the minutes for our Heritage Board meeting. We had asked for council to have an update on the Hertz Hall additional expenses we're going to be spending after Heritage Board approved the new ramp that's going to be installed. And I believe that we will have to see those, it's not, we didn't get an email, we didn't get an update, so hopefully Public Works has that amount for us this evening, although we're not voting on it. I think it's prudent that the council and the public know the additional expense of our Hertz Hall, just for information purposes. Other than that, I'll do my best to answer any questions, and thank you.
Okay. Do you want to go to the first resolution there?
Planning Heritage Resolution Number 1, moved by Deputy Mayor Alana Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it be resolved that council approve the proposed major variance for the subject property addressed as 180 Kent Street, PID number 342626, to allow for the installation of vinyl wrap artwork to be affixed to a nearby traffic control cabinet within the 500 lot area.
Okay. Councillor Ramsey, question? All in favor? Okay, 9-0.
Planning and Heritage Resolution Number 2, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it be resolved the council approve the proposed major variance for the subject property addressed as 247 Prince Street, PID number 346247, to allow for the installation of vinyl wrap artwork to the fixed to a nearby traffic control cabinet within the 500 lot area.
Question called there, Councillor Turd? Question's called. All those in favor? Easy one. Go ahead, sir.
Plan and Heritage Resolution Number 3, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it be resolved that the following major variance for the subject property addressed as 27 Summer Street, PID number 547810 be approved to allow an appointment-based home occupation for a small electronics repair business. And the council establish, 2, that the approved number of clients permitted to visit per day and the maximum number of business-based visits per week, and the required on-site parking for the subject proposed home occupation.
Deputy, did you want to speak to it?
Yeah, I'm just looking for I think staff was going to provide us with the additional conversation they had with the applicant to know what council could or could not decide on this evening, since council has to establish the approved number of clients permitted to visit per day and the maximum number of businesses-based visits per week. And so I think that was discussed at planning board, that we were going to have that information so that we could proceed. David, do you know if you have that information for council?
Mr. Gundrum.
Through the chair to the deputy, we failed to get an exact number back from the applicant in this case. So we did reach out, but we didn't receive a response on that. But I'd offer that in the past, we've offered a reasonable limit to these, usually no more than perhaps 7 or 8 visits per day, corresponding to 1 visit per hour usually. This is a different form, I'll just offer, this is a different form of home-based occupation where the client doesn't come to the property and stay for the duration of an hour or 2-hour appointment there. It's more of a drop-off and pickup style appointment-based home occupation, but I'll just offer that as a possible suggestion, lacking any further details from the applicant at this point.
Deputy? I'll let you.
I don't know, I guess council will have to decide. This was a tricky application as it was because it's not the normal home-based business that we see in these major variances. So, I mean, I guess it's up to council if you want to proceed this evening or if you want to defer it until we actually hear from the resident to know exactly what they want. I'm open to what you folks want to do in terms of this resolution. So, open to you folks.
Councillor McKinnon?
Thank you, Your Worship, and I was just going to suggest the same thing. Deputy asked for a deferral on this, so if you want to move that, I'll second a deferral till we can get that information from the applicant.
Moved.
Deferral moved by? Yep. Deputy Mayor Yankoff. Councillor Twill?
Yeah.
On the deferral?
On the deferral.
Yep.
I know that the applicant has been waiting anxiously for a response from the planning department and subsequently from City Hall, City Council. I think he's waited for a number of months. David Gundrum can confirm that. I think he wants to play within the rules. He's very accommodating, he's very cooperative, and full compliance from his perspective. I've had several discussions with him. It's in a high-profile area. He wants to be a good neighbor. I believe he will be a good neighbor. Very conscientious, so maybe as a suggestion, we move forward with the resolution and we have a developer's agreement signed by the planning department, which clearly states in the developer's agreement what's permitted and what's not permitted. This young gentleman's waited for, several months, and I believe he's going to be a good entrepreneur, he's going to be a good neighbor, He's cooperated fully with the planning department, and he's very, very anxious. So with all due respect to deferral, I understand it, but I believe that our staff can handle the matter internally with a developer's agreement and all of the prerequisites, all the criteria, terms and conditions will be clearly illustrated in the developer's agreement.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Yankoff?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Twill. And in terms of the deferral, I think it's great that this applicant is anxious to get started, then maybe he'll return that phone call or email to the planning staff so that they could have brought that recommendation forward to us. The issue with us bringing forward the hours of operation and how many clients this gentleman is going to have is that we don't know enough about it, which is why, out of respect for him or her, whoever this applicant is, that they were to offer what they would want. So maybe they can get back to the planning staff, and then we can bring this to our middle of the month meeting of council in 2 weeks' time. That's what I'm saying. You know, we're trying to help this guy out. We're trying to be a good neighbor too by letting him let us know what he would want. Because in most cases, we would say with these home-based businesses, sure, 4 clients a day, Monday to Friday. So I can't imagine that that's what he's going to want, but I can't speak for him.
Councillor Beck?
Yeah, this was a little unique in the terms of, it's different than most home-based businesses. I do somewhat agree with Councillor Twill in the sense that I'm not a big fan of deferrals. The planning staff has done their work. They've come with a recommendation. The planning board was approving of the submission. I think what I prefer to do here tonight is maybe establish a number that we're comfortable with. Is it 5 visits a day? Is it 7 visits per day? And if we're comfortable with that, I think this is a little bit of a different nature because the majority of the work is going to be done fixing objects in the home. It's not like a hairstyling business or a nail salon or whatever it might be, any other home-based businesses that we've been faced with recently. It's a little bit different in that the applicant will be spending, I think, the majority of his time on not on the front-facing service part, but on the actual work of repairing the materials. So I'd be okay if I wouldn't support a deferral, but if we wanted to agree on a number that we're comfortable with, I would entertain that discussion, but I prefer to deal with the matter and have it move forward. Thanks.
Deputy?
Thanks. And I mean, Councillor Beck isn't wrong, but I would just point out that the deferral is not going to be deferred back to planning board. The deferral is just going back to staff until they hear from him, and then it returns back to council. It's not going back to planning board. Planning board's completed their work, so this is just a 2-week interruption in hopes that we hear from him. But it's, at the end of the day, it's council's decision. If you don't want to defer, we can set the hours here, but then those are the hours. And that's the amount of clients, so.
And we can have a special
We can-
meeting at noon hour.
Yep, we can do, it's up to council. I mean, right now, we just have to either, you know, if there's interest in voting on the deferral, then I guess we should just get that over with, and then we can move on from there. And if absolutely nobody wants to vote in the deferral, then I'll pull the deferral, and we can go back to the discussion. But I need to hear from you guys. Tell me what you want to do.
Councillor Picard?
Thank you, Your Worship. To the deputy, I support the deferral. I think it's in the best interest of the applicant to define the number of clients and days permitted that they'd like to do business. Unfortunately, they didn't get it into us in time for this resolution, but I think delaying for 2 weeks would likely give them an opportunity. We say 7, he wants 12, then we're just back and forth. So let's just let the applicant determine and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Calling the question? Calling question. Question's called? On the deferral. Who's in favor of the deferral? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, against? 7-2 on the deferral. So it's deferred. John, yea or nay? Deferred? Yeah. Okay. Want to go to the next one, sir? Number 4?
Your Worship, Planning and Heritage Resolution Number 4, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it be resolved the council approve the proposed major variance for the subject property identified as 65 Carrickbrook Avenue, Lot 162 in the Hidden Valley subdivision, PID number 1192483. 2, increase the maximum number of apartment units on the site to be 59 units, whereas the current maximum density under the zoning would allow for 56 apartment units, and to increase the maximum allowed buildable height to be 17.25 meters, whereas a maximum building height of 15 meters is otherwise permitted in the R4 zone.
Councillor Ramsey, question called? All in favor? Oh, comments? Oh, yeah, no, go ahead.
I
We're
just
open-
want,
we're open,
I'm
transparent.
not, it's not so much about deferral. I'd like to draw your attention to page 92. And I raised this issue at the planning board meeting. Originally, when we rezoned this from R2, I believe, to R3, we approved, at that time, the concept was going to be 10 units, 60 units, 10 buildings, 60 units per building for a total of 600. Since that time, the land has kind of been chopped up and there's different units. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, roughly 12 properties now. So we've doubled the amount of properties, we've kind of spread out the unions. We're encroaching on that 600 total. And I think what we have to be careful of, you know, if we're going to allow more on this particular lot, which I do not disagree with, but I do not want to go past what we committed to the residents. So if there was, if any of those other lots start to get up into pushing it up into that 600 maximum, I think we have to be attentive to that. I think right now we're at like, if everything were to be built, we're around like 575 units or something like that. And there's about another 10 properties to be developed. So I think we just have to
Duly
keep that
noted.
in mind as we go forward. Thank you.
Duly noted. Thank you very much. Question called? Yay? All in favor? Against? 8-1. Councillor McKinnon opposed. Next one, sir.
Planning and Heritage Resolution Number 5, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it be resolved the council approve the request to rezone the subject property identified as 307 Patterson Drive, PID number 676585, from the low-density residential R-2 zone to the business office commercial C-1 zone in order to harmonize the existing zoning for the two abutting parcels of land registered under the same PID, number 311 and 307 Patterson Drive, containing an existing one-story commercial building, convenience store, currently bisected by an existing property boundary.
Councillor Bernard.
So just to be clear, this was a piece of property in Hillsborough Park that was always had on the commercial zoning where the store was. My understanding is half of that was zoned commercial, the other half was zoned residential. So they want to unite the total lot, is that correct?
Just 1 second.
Because the store's been there for probably 40 years. So am I correct in saying that that whole plot, half of it was residential and half of it was commercial, and they just want to unite the total? Okay, thank you.
Good? Okay. Question? Question called? All in favor? Okay, 9-0. Next one, sir.
Planning and Heritage Resolution Number 6, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it be resolved the council approve the request to rezone the unaddressed subject property identified as PID number 390534 from the Comprehensive Development Area CDA zone to the Shopping Center Commercial C-3 zone, and to rezone the unaddressed subject property identified as PID number 1179670 from the Comprehensive Development Area zone to the Mixed Use Corridor MUC zone in order to facilitate future commercial development on both sites.
Okay, questions called? Good. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, 9-0. Go ahead, sir.
Planning Heritage Resolution Number 7, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it resolve the council approve the request to rezone the unaddressed subject property identified as Mount Everett Road, PID number 440545, from the single detached residential R-1L zone to the comprehensive development area CDA zone, and to change the land use designation in the official plan for the subject property from the neighborhoods to the nodes designation to facilitate future development of the property with 3 apartment buildings, 5 stories each, having combined total maximum of up to 87 dwelling units based on the existing lot size, and that council approved the proposed concept plan for the development with respect to the regulations of the CDA zone.
Okay. Councillor Bernard, do you want to speak first? Councillor Bernard, can the deputy speak first? You sure? You're all right? Okay. No. Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make sure.
I'm just curious, and Council, this could be for you, or you can send it to the manager, but I'm just wondering, the night this meeting was on, I chaired the meeting, the mayor was away, and it was very clear, like, everybody was against it. And I'm just wondering how the recommendation would come to approve this zoning change. Because it was, like I say, it was 100% that were against it, and there was quite a few people here, and I'm just wondering, from that meeting, it goes to planning. So how did planning come up with a recommendation to approve?
Deputy.
So that's a great question, and that's an operational question, not a philosophical question that I could answer for myself. So I think I'll ask the manager of Planning and Heritage to address that one.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
So we have both Mr. Gundram and our Director of Integrated Growth, Mike Roos. Dave? Yes, oh yeah, no, you're there.
Okay.
David?
Through the chair and to the deputy and to Councillor Bernard, this application went to public meeting earlier this year in February. There was a lot of public feedback we received. We had, I believe it was 27 written letters that are in opposition. There was several members of the community who came out all speaking in opposition to the application. One of the major concerns was around traffic safety, traffic volumes, the impacts from that, as well as some other potential negative impacts that were raised by the residents, so legitimate concerns. Out of that, we did take to heart that feedback, and we went back. Prior to the public meeting, we had some initial feedback from our Public Works Department that was generally supportive of the development from a traffic standpoint, but we revisited that, and we actually directed the applicant to conduct their own private traffic study. So they hired their own private traffic engineer to conduct that. That was completed. That was received by the Planning Department on May 20th, 2026. We forwarded that to Public Works for further review. And I just have some general numbers here, and I can share those if we get into that, of what the traffic study predicted would result from the development. But essentially, the study was generally supportive of the development from a traffic standpoint based on the local road network and the 2 connections that were proposed. Our Public Works Department agreed with that. So from a planning standpoint, this is an element that we refer to qualified professional engineers and experts in traffic management, traffic engineering. We received a professional study from an independent third-party professional engineer, licensed engineer, that said this can be supported based on the data that we've arrived at and we've calculated. So that cleared a major concern from a technical standpoint, and that led to us in part being able to offer a supporting recommendation that's before you tonight. So I hope that helps answer that question, at least in part, and I'll turn it back to the chair for help answer any further questions.
Deputy?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I guess with my city council hat on and not so much my chair of planning, I just wanted to outline, my reasons for whether I'm going to support or not support this resolution this evening, and I've been back and forth on it. It's a tough one, but I've come down to 5 reasons why I can't support this resolution this evening. Probably the most, and I've got my notes here, that's why I'm looking at them. Probably the biggest reason that I've struggled with this is although the application can be considered under our current framework, council's in the final stages of adopting a new zoning and development bylaw. Gives the significance of this proposal, I believe it would be more appropriate to evaluate it within the new framework rather than approving a major rezoning under a bylaw that is about to be replaced. My next reason is the traffic uncertainty that we heard from the residents. Even though Public Works accepted the traffic impact study, and I acknowledge the independent traffic impact study and Public Works review, I still remain concerned about the the traffic, I'm not saying that word, traffic impacts in the area. My concerns is not necessarily that certainly not just this development in isolation, but the broader growth occurring along this corridor. And another is the whole idea of neighborhood transition. And a 5-story apartment building represents a significant transition from the surrounding single detached neighborhood. And transition is contemplated in our planning documents. I see that, but I'm not convinced that this proposal achieves the level of compatibility I would like to see within this existing area. And option 4, and my other reason that I thought about this was council does have the ability to exercise discretion against the planning staff and planning board. And so, although the planning reports provide recommendations, they don't replace council's judgment. And so my role is to weigh the planning evidence alongside the broader public interest. And after considering the information before me, I have reached a different conclusion. So for that reason, I won't be supporting this application this evening.
Councillor Matard.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening to the guests that we have here this evening. I'd just like to share my views and thoughts on this application. So while the city needs diverse housing options, introducing 3 5-story apartment buildings with 87 units and potentially up to 150 additional vehicles into an established low-density neighborhood, in my view, contradicts the city's recently approved official plan. Section 3.25 designates this property as neighborhoods, which requires gentle infill and low-rise housing compatible with neighborhoods to ensure development is contextually sensitive. Placing 3 5-story buildings adjacent to single detached homes does not meet this criteria. Redesignating this property to a high-density nodes zone would set a concerning precedent, undermine neighborhood trust, and significantly impact the character, privacy, and safety of the existing homes on Lilac, Fern Garden, and the surrounding area. It may also affect the value and integrity of the significant investments made by the current residents. The traffic impact statement projects an additional 388 vehicle trips per day. Although the report describes a 4% increase on Mount Edward Road as modest, I feel it does not adequately address the impact on local streets like Lilac, Fern Garden, and the other surrounding streets will undoubtedly experience significant increases in traffic, despite the report claims of modest traffic and minimal impact. The traffic has to go somewhere, and it will go inward as the path of least resistance. The traffic impact study relies on existing data from the City of Charlottetown, which may not reflect the current traffic or speed conditions of today. How old was the data that was being used? I was unable to determine that data. Additionally, the right-in, right-out configuration on Outer Road is based on a 2020 Provincial Department of Transportation endorsement. Is there a current valid provincial approval for this road layout? So the surrounding local streets are narrow and lack sidewalks and pedestrian pathways. This neighborhood is active, with many families and children using nearby parks and sports fields. In my opinion, introducing nearly 400 additional daily vehicle trips onto roads without pedestrian infrastructure poses a significant safety risk to residents. Public feedback on this rezoning was clear. The city received 27 written responses, all opposing the application, in addition to strong opposition expressed at the February 19th public meeting. So given the significant public opposition, the safety concerns that I've outlined, inadequate infrastructure, and inconsistencies with the city's gentle inflow policies, I cannot support this resolution this evening. Thank you.
Councillor Beck. Councillor Beck. Oh, sorry, Councillor McCabe, and then Councillor Beck and Councillor Bernard.
Thank you. I'm sure anybody that is planning not to support the recommendation of staff recognize they have to choose to stand up and explain why they're not. Although I recognize the need for additional housing, and I do appreciate the work that the developer and staff have put into this application, I do remain concerned about the safety for the roadways. And as we read in the report tonight, the access has not been demonstrated as clear for apartments up to 87 units. Public Works has identified issues related to access, intersection design, grades, sightlines that still require further work. In the report, words like could and might don't provide me with a lot of confidence or clarity. I think I would need to understand this clearly, and for this to be presented clearly to council as well as to the residents so that they understood exactly what the plan was. So I think for me tonight, I won't be supporting the application as it is because of not having clear definition of what exactly that looks like. So.
Councillor Norman Beck.
Yeah, I think as a general rule, I think we get into some conflicting messages here sometimes about whether we're supporting. Sometimes we go behind planning decisions, sometimes we go against planning decisions. This happens all the time. It's a common occurrence where we sometimes agree and sometimes we don't agree. A question I do have is with regards to the motion itself. It says, pardon me for a minute, change the land use designation. So kind of what the deputy was saying, we're kind of still living in two worlds in some ways. We're basing a lot of our decisions on where we think we're going, but we're actually working within a different framework, which is not the ideal situation. So in this particular situation, our motion is actually almost living in two worlds. We're saying to change it to something that may or may not come to pass, because we haven't even voted on our zoning and development bylaw. So I'm uncomfortable even with that wording, but I do have a question. If this were to go ahead and that is changed to a node, what can go in that node? So currently we know what can go there, but if let's say the developer decides not to proceed, we approve this, the developer says, oh, I've changed my mind, or the developer sells the land, whatever it might be, and this gets changed to a node, what does that mean for this particular property? If I could maybe have that question asked to the deputy, like what does that mean in terms of, because it's going to be as of right.
Yeah.
The nodes are going to define, the transfer corridors are going to define. If the zoning and development bylaw goes ahead, it's going to be defined. So developers know exactly what to expect. They won't be going back through this process anymore. So what would that mean if this is approved and the node, this is transitioned into a node? Thank you.
Good question, Councillor Beck. Deputy Mayor Yankoff.
I'm going to take a stab at it because this application can be applied for through our current framework. And if it was approved this evening, then what we would be granting permission for is an official plan amendment and a zoning change to comprehensive development area. And I believe comprehensive development area is not going to exist in our new official or new zoning bylaw if we should approve that. Is that correct, David?
Through the chair to the deputy, that's correct. Partially correct, because the current new zoning bylaw, the CDA zone does not show up anymore.
Right.
However, that being said, there are many properties that are subject to CDA with approved CDA concept plans. So when you do CDA, it locks in what you're actually allowed to
Right.
build to that
Yep.
approved concept plan.
Yep.
Question, we haven't crossed that bridge yet with the new zoning bylaw, about the debate about what do you do with those if that zone disappears, because you still have approved concept plans in place. Even if that zone disappears, those plans still have legal standing, I would imagine. And we haven't talked about that yet in a
Right.
serious way. What I'll answer in part to Councillor Beck and the question raised is that to change the land use designation to the NOS designation, but then to change the implementing zoning to CDA would lock this into what the developer has brought forward. So anyone in the future, depending how the new zoning bylaw discussions go, I'm just going to venture a guess here that if you maintain that approved concept plan into the future, they would still be locked to that, and if they wanted to change it at all, if they'd have to go back through a public process again. However, we don't know that for sure because the new zoning bylaw hasn't been completely ironed out yet.
Right.
So there's a little bit of unknown here, which I've highlighted because of the situation at hand. So I hope that helps answers that a little bit.
That's great,
So,
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Bernard, and then Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Yankoff, for your answer to the question. Thanks, the manager. I'm still a little bit concerned, though. And my concern is this. We've had a public meeting that was that impactful, and the decision was very clearly made. And then we get a traffic study that comes in from the developer, and all of a sudden, that goes to one department, and we're looking to approve it. So to me, there's a step missing. I think if we get into such large decisions that are based on the public, from our public feedback, that's why we have public meetings, to receive that feedback. I still, for example, there was a lot of talk about Lilac Avenue and the amount of traffic that was going to be going on, the safety concerns for all the kids. Traffic study didn't answer that. So in the future, I kind of like to see where if we have a meeting and it's that one-sided, that no one is in favor of it, and planning comes up with a reason why it should go ahead, council should be informed of that, probably the neighborhood should be informed of that before it comes as a resolution. Now, I don't know if that's a possibility, but something should happen.
Do you want to respond, or can she respond there?
Sure.
Yep, go ahead there. Deputy?
Thanks, Councillor Bernard. The issue we have is we have a clear, set process that establishes, as you know, you've been around for years, the perimeters to which staff proceed. And if they go outside of that scope at all, and there's an appeal, then they've set themselves up for failure, because they have to follow the process. So the process doesn't include, after it returns from the public meeting and it goes back to staff, staff aren't just evaluating the public meeting, they're evaluating the entire process of that application. And although public consultation and public information is very important, for them as professional planners, that's just one of the steps. So therefore, they come back through, they evaluate it, they do all these things, they bring it to planning board with their professional planning recommendation that has tied in to, they have listened to the public, but they have nowhere in their scope for them then to go back out to the public with either with letters or with information to say, oh, hey, here's what we're doing. And that's the process to which we live in. So if we want to change that process, we can, and that's a council decision to begin that process, but it won't happen overnight. And it's not really identified in our zoning and development bylaw. It comes through our planning act and our whatever else we have, like some other process. So if that's something we want to go forward on and engage the public differently, I mean, we've heard it a lot before, so that might be something we look at in the future.
Can you just hold your thought just for 1 minute? Councillor Ramsey?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I will be voting against this also because of, as Councillor Bernard stated, which I was going to state earlier, is that our public meeting, everybody was against it at that time, and there's times we have to listen to the residents, and it's a safety thing, and it says posted 50 miles per hour with the speed limit. We all know
no matter what street you live on, people are not doing 50 miles an hour, and they're not looking. And in fact, before I came here tonight, my wife and I were sitting there, and she said, "There's an awful lot of traffic in our street, and they're speeding." So, you know, things along that line, and I would like to thank the planning crew for putting all their time into this, but at the same time, I'll be voting against it. Thank you.
Councillor Bernard.
And thank you again, Deputy Mayor. It's just that, for me, I haven't come across this in the years that I've been here, was there such strong opposition to an issue like this, and then come back and say, I'm not surprised it's not going to pass tonight, because I think a lot of people were at that meeting, they've seen how strong the opposition was. So I'm just wondering if there's something we could look at when this does happen, that we are able to notify the residents. Because to me, when there's such strong opposition, this ends up being a surprise, and I wouldn't want it to be happening in my neighborhood. Because when you come that meeting with such strong opposition, then all of a sudden, why is council going to approve it? I think there has to be a step in there to be able to get back to the residents.
I just, to mirror what the deputy said, we're going through a comprehensive review, overhaul of the zoning development bylaw. This is the opportunity to get your thoughts and positions, recommendations into our planning board, planning department on how processes should change or accommodate what we're talking about tonight. Councillor Tweed and Councillor Beck.
Thank you. I remember the meeting back in February. Yeah, it was a strong turnout, strong message, crystal clear. There were some public works issues. I tried to bring them and tried to address them. I was prevented from doing that. And here we are still talking about public works issues. So I think, you know, in the future, when we're having public meetings and public works issues comes up, or police issues or safety issues, I think we should be allowed to have the opportunity, have that freedom to be able to discuss those issues candidly with the residents in attendance. Correct? So having said that, I read the correspondence from the residents over the weekend. Not sure what the process is. They didn't know about the public planning or the planning board meeting. They would have liked to attend. They didn't know anything about it. It's not a criticism. That's an observation. That gap has to be nullified. Residents need to know when their neighborhood is on the docket at the planning board meeting. In terms of traffic, you know, the traffic study, I think Councilor Matar captured it quite well, quite accurately. We got to be careful here when we're talking about traffic studies and referring back to a study that was done, you know, in previous years. Just in the last 2 or 3 years, the major development that's taken place in this city is not only unprecedented, it's something we never ever expected to experience as a neighborhood, as a community, and as a city administration and council. These are issues that, when you look at it, planning board takes into consideration a recommendation from planning staff. Planning staff are the professionals. They look at the philosophy, they look at the principles of planning and procedures, and I know they don't take these decisions lightly. The concern I have is, okay, we're gonna, it's pretty well, if you look at it, we're gonna shut this down tonight. Concern I have is, let's say the developer decides to appeal it to IRAC, and that's their right. However, what will be the criteria that IRAC will determine in terms of, you know, did they follow the proper procedures? Did they follow the proper planning principles and values? And did they meet the criteria and whatnot? And that concerns me, that IRAC has that power. I think, you know, we keep hearing now about the evaluation and information that residents are speaking out in terms of IRAC and, you know, the different responsibilities that they have. And this is a case in point right here. If we make a decision and IRAC has that ability to overturn it. So I think we have to go into this with our eyes wide open.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah. Just wrap it up there, Councillor Twill, because the deputy wants to answer. Just hurry up. Can you
Pardon
finish
me?
up? Can you finish up, please? Because you're over your 5 minutes.
No, actually, my 5 minutes started before I even get up to
Yep.
speak.
Just,
So, okay, I know, Mr. Mayor, I know, I understand the game. So having said all of that, you know, we hear about safety, we hear about traffic, Lilac, Fern Garden, these are neighborhood streets. It was pointed out here tonight, we have a lot of parks. It's a neighborhood, the fabric of the neighborhood is where people are commuting up and down, you know, these neighborhood streets. We heard from the residents in February, a lot of children on these neighborhood streets. So somewhere along the line, folks, to even consider an entrance onto Lilac, to my mind, is, you know, it's a non-starter. It really is. It's a non-starter. So having said all of those things, I think we need to do a lot of work. And a recommendation I have is, when planning staff says, well, we've talked to Public Works previously, I think Public Works should be here, manager should be here, so that when those technical questions, professional questions are asked, manager of Public Works is here, present and accounted for, and can answer those questions directly to the residents. I think that's something that's totally missing in our process, and I think needs to be implemented in the policies and procedures of how planning decisions are arrived at. And I think our planning staff should have the presence of Public Works, Water and Sewer, or whatever the case may be, so that when the residents are here for a public meeting, they can ask those pertinent questions, ask those critical questions, and get the answers, so we're not going into this blindfolded.
okay. Thank you, Councillor Twill.
I will be opposed to this development.
Thank you. Thank you. Deputy, can you just provide some?
Thank you, Councillor Twill, and, you know, this is just another opportunity for me to remind everybody, we have a public meeting coming up in September for our new zoning and development bylaw, and coming out to those meetings is probably more important than coming for one application for your neighborhood, because if we want change to happen and process to change, we need all your voices at those public meetings, not just when it happens in your neighborhood, because we can only do so much unless we have your voices all the time.
Councillor Peck. Yep.
Yeah, just a couple of comments. I do want to go back to the public opposition, and Councillor Bernard saying that, you know, we've never had so much public opposition. We have had situations where we've made decisions in here with very vehement public opposition and received much very emotional situations. So this is not a unique case. So this is, and I think we have to be careful about what we do and how we make our decisions. I'm going to defend our planning department here for a minute. Part of the process is to work within the rules that we have prescribed. Our planning department followed the processes. Everyone clamors for a policy until it doesn't work for them and they don't like it. But our planning department followed policies that we have in place. We had the public consultation meetings. They took the feedback that was given by the public and gave a report back to planning department. Our planning department is under a lot of pressure. They're under a lot of pressure from developers. They're under a lot of pressure from people to get things done in an expedient manner. And I think we have to recognize the fact that they are working within difficult situations. So I don't want that to be lost on anybody in here tonight. But ultimately, we have to make the decision, and we will make the decision here that we feel is the right one to make tonight, and we will be voting soon enough. Thank you.
Councillor Bernard, you've already spoken twice. It's three times. Yeah. Councillor McAleer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Brown.
I've certainly struggled with this resolution. Obviously, been through the same process as the rest of council, attended the public meeting. The opposition doesn't escape me. The safety piece doesn't escape me. But I'm looking at it as as kind of a two-part process in my mind. I'm going to be voting in support of the resolution. I'm looking at it, it's a zoning change and an official plan update. That's one piece. And it doesn't look like, anyway, there's support here this evening. But my feeling on this is staff have done, as Councillor Beck and others have said, staff have done their due diligence. There's been reports done. There's been traffic studies done. You know, our city, the development. If you look at, I guess, you know, the area, Mount Edward Road was just a road out to the Sherwood Road, and 30 years ago, I guess the area we're talking about was probably just a green space for the most part. But here we are. We've got development pressure on us. I'd like to think, anyway, if this did pass, it doesn't look like that's going that way, but that the next step would be for the development piece. The developer, in this case, Mr. Burt, there's a whole other process that he would have to go through, and I think those potentially those safety concerns could be addressed. There's, I mean, I've talked with our public works staff as recent as today. There's no sidewalks out there. I wanted to understand where that queue looked like. There's calming measures that, you know, from a traffic point of view, that perhaps could certainly be addressed. The intersection, the hairpin turn on you know, on Lilac. Anyway, I just feel that with the, you know, our official plan and where we're going with trying to update our zoning and development bylaw, that, you know, if this is not passed, and it doesn't look like it's going to, but it's probably going to land at this stage. I have no idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if the developer takes it to IRAC, and who knows where it'll come back to. It may come back to, you know, green light. But anyway, so for those reasons, I guess I have some confidence that if it did pass and get to the next stage, that the safety concerns could be addressed with proper infrastructure planning. Thank you.
Councillor Twill, and Councillor Twill, 3 minutes. This is the second time. Okay, third time.
Thanks.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks for the reminder. One of the things that's been lost in the discussion here tonight is, you read the correspondence from the residents. Right from day one, the residents were not just opposed to the development, but they were proactive and even suggested a different type of development and tried to reach the developer, I think, on numerous occasions. I'm not sure if those discussions, if in fact did take place, but I think you have to credit the residents in the fact that, you know, we're not just opposed to all development. We have some ideas, we have some suggestions, and we'd like to work with the developer. So I think that's important that we recognize and acknowledge that the residents themselves are being very proactive. I know Councillor Beck referred to our staff being under pressure, and I wholeheartedly agree. But guess what? Neighborhoods and communities in this city are under a tremendous amount of pressure for development, and it puts a lot of strain, a lot of pressure on folks that are living in these respective neighborhoods. They made investments, you know, right over the years. Some have lived in these communities and neighborhoods for over 40 years, paid their mortgage payments, paid their taxes, doing their very best to play by the rules. And then all of a sudden, something like this arises, and it's pressure to have this type of development, and is not consistent with the single-family development that you would see in this particular neighborhood. So I think we have to be cognizant of the fact it's not just our staff, and I respect our staff, that they're under pressure, but the pressure is on our residents just as much as it is on staff, because it's the fear of the unknown. They don't know. They don't know when it's going to planning board. They don't know if the public works issues have been addressed. There's so many questions. And I don't even think we did our due diligence in terms of answering those questions here tonight. But nonetheless, I think we're scratching the outer surfaces. So I wanted to bring that forward. And a credit to the residents being proactive, wanting to work with the developer in terms of a development they believe that would fit in with the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Beck. And then Councillor McKinnon.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Twill. And I want to be clear, I'm not losing sight of the fact that residents have spoken, residents have come. I don't want, and that's part of the process. That was my point, is that that is an important part of the process. In this particular development here, the node issue doesn't sit well with me as well. And I go back to what I stated at the original part when I talked about the lack of clarity around what this potentially means with regards to the property. If you're talking about uncertainty in terms of development, what that can mean for the future, I think we have another layer of uncertainty that comes with it here with this development. And that's the part that does not sit well, the big part, one of the parts that does not sit well with me. So in this particular situation, we have to vote on, again, I reiterate, we're making a decision on what we think is the right thing to do. We can't control what the developer does in the aftermath. We can't control how IRAC responds to the decisions that we make. We have to make, we're charged with the decision to advance either support or reject resolutions based on all the information that we received. We've received broad range of information here tonight. We will have to decide which way we're going to be proceed. That's our job.
Good point. Councillor McKinnon, you want to wrap it up?
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship. As other councillors have said tonight, I fully respect the staff of the planning department and what they've come to this decision for the resolution. They have a process to follow. They followed it. That's why the resolution is here. I don't have to agree with it. None of us have to agree with it. But I just want to state, I live in the same situation of what these residents are facing. Hidden Valley, 112 units, all exiting through my subdivision is what these folks are going to be living with. Heavy traffic, going through an unsafe neighborhood. Councillor Twill, you mentioned unsafe going through with children playing on the streets. All Hidden Valley comes through by a little small park. So I don't support what's going to be constructed over here. There's traffic. There's no sidewalks over there. There's no sidewalks here. So in a comparison, I can't support what planning department is going with the process for this.
Yeah. So we have to keep in mind, they were asking about sidewalks, they were asking about calming mechanisms for their neighborhoods and taking care of that hairpin turn off Fern Garden onto Lilac. Those issues hopefully will keep going ahead and we'll address them as Public Works, Parks and Recreation, whatever it may be. Question? Questions called? All in favor? Okay. All against? 8-1. Councillor McAleer? In favor. And Councillor Drawn absent. Okay. Next resolution?
Actually, Worship.
What's that? You'll have to read the alternate. Oh, we have to read the alternate resolution. Go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. Planning Heritage Resolution Number 7, alternate version, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it resolve the council deny the request to rezone the unaddressed subject property identified as Mount Everett Road, PID number 440545, from the single detached residential R-1L zone to the comprehensive development area CDA zone and to change the land use designation in the official plan from the subject property from the neighborhoods to the nodes designation to facilitate future development of the property with 3 apartment buildings, 5 stories each, having combined total maximum to up to 87 dwelling units based on existing lot size, and the council denied the proposed concept plan for the development with respect to the regulations of the CDA zone.
So we didn't change. What's on the screen is the original resolution. This new one is not on the screen, is it? Oh, do you? Okay. I just had the old one in front of me. Okay. Okay, all in favor of denying the proposed concept plan for the development with respect to the regulations of the CDA zone? All opposed? Opposed. Okay. 8-1. Next resolution?
Planning and Heritage Resolution Number 8, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councilor Julie McCabe. Let it be resolved that council approve the request to amend Figure 7 of the future land use map, Section 3.2 land use designations of the City of Charlottetown official plan from urban expansion UE to the corridor C, and approve the request to amend Appendix G, a zoning map of the Charlottetown zoning development bylaw from the unzoned NA lands to the ER-MUVC East Rolling Mixed Use Village Center zone for the unaddressed parcel identified as PID number 140087.
Councilor Bernard?
Thank you, Worship. Deputy, I'm wondering, the 69 acres, I think that's just the Lewis Brothers property, isn't it? So is there a reason we're not zoning all the property that was annexed into Charlottetown? We didn't zone it.
Deputy?
I think that this is just because this is just them asking for this particular piece to be zoned this way so that they can put in that infrastructure they wanted when they expand out. So I think the next zoning comes along maybe next, does it? I mean, this is just for this particular piece of land to be zoned as the expanded corridor request. Unless David wants to clarify that for me.
Mr. Gundrum or
Yeah. I don't think we zoned the
through-
other.
Mike Russ?
Through the chair, I don't have anything further to add. That's correct. This was a property owner initiated amendment request for that single parcel, which doesn't include all the parcels that were annexed into the city back about 4 years ago, I believe. So.
So,
Go ahead.
so just so I'm clear, Dave, or Deputy, to zone the other properties that are annexed into the city of Charlotte, we wait for the owners to come back and ask for it to be zoned?
Deputy?
I'm going to defer that to David. That's a Jedi question.
Or Mr. Russ?
Thank you, Your Worship, and through the deputy as well. Just in response to the question, so there's, I guess, 2 options from my perspective. One would be a response to an application from the property owner themselves, or it could be addressed through the new zoning bylaw. So that has been part of the discussion with this property as well. Ultimately, the applicant wanted to move forward, and that's why we're here tonight. However, the other properties, we will be establishing zoning through the new zoning bylaw as well. I hope that clarifies.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Okay, and I know that this should mean that the sign, "Welcome to Charlottetown," will be moving out to that corner of York Road and St. Peter's Road, hopefully. Is that right, Mr. Russ?
I would, I guess, defer that question to the Public Works team.
Oh, we'll get it the next one. He's coming up anyways. Okay, question called? All in favor? 8-0, and Councillor McKinnon? Yep, thank you, sir.
Planning and Heritage Resolution Number 9, moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councilor Julie McCabe. Let it be resolved the council direct staff to issue a statement of concurrence to the Industry Canada in relation to the proposed antenna system, Bell Canada Tower, proposed at 7 Pond Street, PID number 367631.
Okay. Councillor Beck?
hooray. Is all I want to say.
Yes.
Hooray. Finally, we will have resolution to drop calls, spotty cell service, disruption of services, which people in here have experienced in the past. And I'm glad to see that, I guess, my prayers have been answered with Holy Redeemer Church. So thank you very much. And I think the residents of not only Ward 3, but residents within a, 2-kilometer radius of that are going to have improved service.
Okay.
So I think it's great.
I even sent a text to the president of the Canadian Wireless Association to say, how many more are going up? He said, bring that back to the chair of the Strategic Priorities Committee, Councillor Mattard. Question? All in favor? All opposed? Okay. 8-0. And you want to read, got a couple of first readings?
Yes, we have 3 first readings, Your Worship. The first, City of Charlottetown Amendment, Official Plan PH-0PA.2, first reading of the Zoning Development Bylaw PH-ZD.2, to adopt the bylaw, a bylaw to amend the Zoning Development Bylaw, to amend Appendix G, zoning map of the Charlottetown Zoning Development Bylaw from the low-density residential R-2 zone to the business map of Charlottetown zoning to the business office commercial C-1 zone for the property located at 307 Patterson Drive, PID number 676585. Be it resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning development bylaw PH-ZD.2-112 as it pertains to the property located at 307 Patterson Drive as attached be read a first time and approved, and it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe.
Shall it pass? Okay. 8-0. Want to do the next one?
Your Worship, City of Charlottetown Amendment, Official Plan PH-0PA.2, first reading of the Zoning Development Bylaw PH-ZD.2, to adopt a bylaw to amend the Zoning Development Bylaw, to amend Appendix G, zoning map of the Charlottetown Zoning Development Bylaw from the Comprehensive Development Area CDA zone to the Shopping Center Commercial C-3 zone for the property identified as PID number 390534, and from the Comprehensive Development Area CDA zone to the Mixed Use Corridor MUC zone for the unaddressed subject property identified as PID 1179670. Let it be resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning development bylaw as it pertains to the properties identified as PID numbers 390534 and 1179670 as attached be read a first time and approved, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe.
Shall it pass? Okay. Next one, sir.
City of Charlottetown Amendment, Official Plan PH-0P.2, adopt Official Plan Amendment PH-0PA.2003, the land use for the unaddressed parcel identified as PID number 140087, as shown on Figure 7 of the Charlottetown's future land use map of the City of Charlottetown Official Plan, is designated as a corridor, hereby excluding it from former designation of urban expansion. Be it resolved that the official plan amendment, as it pertains to the unaddressed parcel identified as PID number 140087 as attached, be adopted. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe.
Shall it pass?
First reading of the zoning and development bylaw PH-ZD.2, to adopt the bylaw PH-ZD.2-115, a bylaw to amend the zoning development bylaw to amend Appendix G, the zoning map of the Charlottetown zoning development bylaw from the unzoned NA lands to the ER-MUVC East Royalty Mixed Use Village Center Zone for the unaddressed parcel identified as PID number 140087. Be it resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning development bylaw as it pertains to unaddressed parcel identified as PID number 1400087 as attached be read a first time and approved, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe.
Shall it pass? Okay. 8-0. Councillor Duran. And, okay. Good. Deputy, thank you very much. You want to wrap it up?
Just encourage councilors to remind your residents that September, big public meeting for zoning and development bylaw.
Okay. Councillor Beck.
Yeah, just on that, like I find it frustrating, to be honest, because I'm talking with people and a lot of people have no idea what's going on. Like, really, and it's not a fault of ours. It's not, I'm not laying blame or casting aspersions on anybody, but this is a big document and that is coming out. And I would second what the deputy says, that people got to come out and be informed. Because this is a major change. This hasn't been done since what, 1995?
1999.
1999. We're, so 27 years later. And we're in a totally different world, and I think people are oblivious to it. So I would wholeheartedly support whatever we can do to get people. I hope wherever we decide to have it, that people come out and have their say, because it's not the document of 1999. And there are significant changes. So I don't know how we change that or how we get that word out, but I certainly want to support what the deputy said in that regard.
Some food for thought, Mr. Russ and David and your staff there at the Department of Planning, Development and Heritage, and working with the Comms Department. Okay, Councillor Twill, Public Works. You want to add to that? Go ahead.
Yeah. I think Councillor Beck raises a good point. A lot of residents are oblivious to, you know, the whole exercise of the zoning and development bylaw. The new proposed zoning and development bylaw. I stated at the last council meeting, I think we need to take out full-page ads in The Guardian showing what the status quo is and the proposed changes. And by taking out full-page ads in The Guardian, more people are going to see, you know, what the document could contain if council approves it in the fall. So I'm going to recommend that again, folks. You know, social media is great, but a lot of people are not on social media. And you know, sometimes traditional is good. And I think we got to get back to the basics. And you know, we've got a great newspaper here in The Guardian, and I think we need to take out full-page ads and run them and say, here's the status quo in terms of the zoning and development bylaw. Here are the proposed changes. And I think we'll get a lot more participation, a lot more feedback, a lot more involvement.
Okay.
I just bring that
Thank
forward
you.
as a recommendation. Thank you.
There you are, Logan. That's twice in one month after another of promotion of your Guardian. So that's good advertising. Councillor Twill, your report. Your report. Deputy.
Thank you, Council, for allowing me to bring my report up earlier. We have one resolution for Council's consideration. I want to draw your attention to a number of months ago, I brought up the issue of North River Road, traffic backed up into Capitol Drive. I've been watching and witnessing how that traffic is backed up once again into Capitol Drive. And that traffic is being stopped because there's left-hand turns going into the SO. You know, this was a top priority for us in Public Works, and I think as a council. So I'm looking for those enhancements, improvements to take place. You know, when you have that traffic backed up into Capitol Drive, that's a very, very dangerous situation. It really is. So, and it's coming from both ends of Capitol Drive onto North River Road. So I'm certainly looking forward to those improvements, those enhancements, those corrections, call it whatever you will. But it's not a good situation out there. It really isn't. Once again, we have one resolution for council's consideration. We'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Twill. Any questions for Councillor Twill on his report before we move on to the first resolution? Oh, I see Councillor Beck's light on. So go ahead, Councillor Beck.
Just quickly, we've got a couple of paving packages and sidewalk packages. Just could you reiterate for us, Albert, how we arrive at the decisions? I'm not questioning, or I'm not, I don't have any issues with the streets that we have, but can you just for the public or remind all of us how we arrive at the decisions that we do with regards to the streets that are receiving paving or the streets that are receiving sidewalks? Thank you.
Councillor Twill, yep, you want to take that first?
I'll give it a shot, and then, of course, Albert can do a much better job than I can. Basically, I think there's a rating system. Worst first. They look at amount of traffic that are on these city streets, neighborhood streets versus main entranceways, and you know the different connectors, and then they try to make that assessment from a methodical, very detailed sense. And you know, we've got two packages that are out now. Some of the streets are being there's overlay, and there's some streets are being pulverized and paving on University Avenue. I think they've done a pretty good job. The contractors have done an excellent job. I think there's more parts of University Avenue that need to be paved. But in short, and if our manager would like to even add further, but it is worst first, and there's a rating system. So, Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Councillor Twill, and through Councillor Twill to Councillor Beck. Yeah, I don't think I have really anything to add on in terms of the paving list. We have had two packages, A and B, go out and are closed, and we have started paving. Maybe I'll speak on the sidewalks a little bit as well. So the sidewalks that were chosen for this year are based on the 5-year sidewalk and multi-use plan that was passed and approved by council. I think the last one was in 2022. There was a couple iterations of it, but we are currently in year 3 of 5 of that plan. And I'm not sure if everybody remembers, but we did bring last year in the fall presentation outlining a new rating system and a prioritization matrix for sidewalks and how we choose where we build new sidewalks. Last year, we were able to update the 5-year plan and the streets on that 5-year plan to kind of reprioritize based on that list which ones were going to be done this year. So those are the ones that went out to tender and we got design on. We are in the process of right now also expanding that prioritization matrix and review across the full city and all of our other streets to see, to look at every other street that doesn't have a sidewalk and where it fits on that prioritization matrix. So once that is complete, it'll be hard to say if I don't think we'll be able to analyze every street this summer, but we'll get another chunk of the way there, and that will give us some more data to be able to prioritize which streets need sidewalks first, and eventually that's the criteria we'll be using going forward.
Councillor Twill, just wanted to ask again about the signage. It's been asked about for the last year plus.
We have discussed the signage at a couple of Public Works committee meetings. I think once the signs are ready to go, I think the concern was exactly where they were going to put the signs. I remember Albert and Mr. McKinnon were wanting to make sure that we put it in the appropriate place, the signage. So I'm sure we'll have an update here in the not too distant future, and then we'll get the signs up.
And that, just to clarify, corner of York Road, St. Peter's Road. That's, yeah.
Did you say where?
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Albert?
Now, where did you say?
East Royalty. Yep. Okay, we got a resolution. Thank you very much, Councillor Twill. It is.
Public Works Resolution Number 1, Your Worship, moved by Councillor Mitchell Tweel and seconded by Councillor John McAleer. Let it be resolved that council receives the parking management strategy final report and appendices, and the council adopts the parking strategy in principle and use it as a guiding document to proceed with capital and operational parking improvements in the future years, and that the mayor and the CEO are hereby authorized to execute standard contracts and agreements to implement this resolution.
I have Deputy Mayor Yankoff and Councillor Twill.
So,
Did you want to go?
Wilbur should go first, right?
Okay, Councillor Twill, go ahead.
That's right. So, this document, this parking strategy is, we're bringing this forward in terms of approval and principle. You look at the wording in the resolution, it's to receive, not approve, but to receive the document, which to my mind is critical. It's critical in that we don't have to, we're not bound by all of the recommendations that are in the document. It's a guiding document. We take from it what we would like to implement and what we don't want to implement. We don't have to move in that particular direction. The point I want to make here, in terms of this resolution being passed, there's still going to be a lot of consultation, deliberations, discussions with the proposed changes in the different parts of the city, downtown or core or north of Houston. So that was one of the things I wanted to make sure when we discussed that at the planning or Public Works, is that there's still going to be further dialogue, there's going to be further discussions and consultation with proposed changes, that this document is going to illustrate. And again, it's approval in principle. We are receiving the document. We are not bound by all of the recommendations that are in the document. That's why we're receiving it. So a lot of work has gone into it. The folks that we brought on board to work on this document, I think, have done a pretty good job. I know we asked a lot of questions at the Public Works meeting, and it's excuse me. I believe it's a good starting point. Thank you.
So could I just ask, this is one of our 8 initiatives for the half. So is that all right that we just receive it? Can we get that answered? Or do we have to adopt it?
No, that's the wishes of the committee to
Yep.
receive the document.
Just get a
Right.
clarification from the staff.
No, that's what the committee approved. You're a member of the committee.
Yeah.
So we received the document. That's what we do in a lot of these reports that come forward. We receive it so that, again, we're not bound by every recommendation that's in the report. It's just a guide. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a guide.
Yeah, Councillor Twill, I understand that, but how does it line with one of the 8 initiatives? Deputy Mayor, do you have any?
It's an excellent question. I don't have the answer for it, but I think we do need the answer.
I think that we have Albert here and Mike.
What's the question?
Well, with the 8 initiatives that we have for half, the Housing Accelerator Fund, one of the initiatives is to adopt or have a parking strategy, correct? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Well, I mean, again, it's not like we haven't done this before, receiving a document. Why would this be any different? That's my
It's because
question.
it's tied to the agreement called the Housing Accelerator Fund.
Oh, so you're saying that we should approve it?
No, I'm trying to get a clarification on if it's required that we adopt, receive. I want to know the language. That's,
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
well, if we can just
Well, you
ask.
might not, but I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. I'll pass it on to Mike on the agreement because I'm not sure of that. But I guess I just want to reiterate on the point of the strategy. It's a parking strategy, and like Councillor Twill is saying, it's hard. You know, we're adopting it as a strategy, but obviously there's short, medium, long-term goals as part of that, and that's whenever we're looking to implement those as Public Works, where parking sits now, we would bring those capital budgets and those projects forward. Depending on the size of them and what needs to be done, it would go out for public consultation, come back to council to approve. So that's where it's in principle, because everything may not be exactly the same. Some of these short, medium, long-term goals may go into more detail exactly, but it's a strategy for us to follow on what we want to do with parking. I'll pass it on to Mike on the actual terms of the agreement.
Thank you, Albert, and through your worship and to the chair on this, our Housing Accelerator Fund agreement requires that we approve and implement an integrated parking strategy. However, from my perspective, our intent here is to move forward with a reduction of parking requirements, and that piece is covered off through the zoning and development bylaw. So there's two pieces here. One is the regulatory reform through the zoning bylaw. So that's the parking reduction. The other piece is the parking management, which is more tied into this strategy. So I think we're being maybe overly careful about language here. The intent here is for council to adopt a strategy so that staff can work with council to move forward with the implementation. That doesn't mean that everything will be implemented, but I think what the intent here is to try and get council's approval or intent to move forward with this strategy, generally as a whole, if that makes sense.
Councillor Twill, all I'm doing, it's a question of clarification. I'm going to the initiative right here. It says, parking strategy, this is parking strategy to reduce parking requirements and allow for increased density. And it has 2 milestones. 3, council approves and implements integrated parking strategy. Develop RFP for an integrated parking strategy. New standards are applied to new development permits. Just want to ask, Michael, does this fit that initiative? Yes or no? I just need it for the public record.
You're correct, Your Worship. Our commitment under the agreement is to approve an integrated parking strategy.
Okay. So by receiving this parking strategy, are we living up to our commitment in initiative number, is it number 4 or 5? Yeah. That's all I want to know, because we have to check off these boxes, and the CAO knows this too. We're not checking off these boxes. Yay or nay?
In my opinion, that wouldn't be meeting the intent of the agreement.
Okay.
We'd be looking for an approval.
That's all I need to know, Councillor Twill. That's it. No?
If I could just clarify as well, the terms of the resolution do say that council receives the parking management strategy final report and appendices, and council adopts the parking strategy in principle and use it as a guiding document to proceed with capital and operational improvements in further budget years.
Yep.
I think that is, maybe it's the word that's in principle, but I think that's the same thing, adopting it, approving it.
We just have to, Albert, we have to check off these boxes because we were penalized for not meeting our initiatives and milestones. So that's all I'm trying to find out. And the deputy, who is the chair of Planning Development and Heritage Standing Committee, we're asking the same question. So it does, we're all right to check off that box. That's what we heard. Affirmative? Yeah. Good. Questions called?
Now, just before we do that, I guess I'm somewhat surprised, Mr. Mayor. You're a member of the Public Works Committee meeting. You're a voting member.
I wasn't at the meeting.
Pardon me?
I wasn't at the meeting when this
Yeah,
was.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the point. You weren't, you had plenty of opportunity to raise these concerns in terms of wording.
Yeah.
We had an initial presentation. It got postponed because of technical difficulties. You had plenty of time
Yeah.
to raise these issues if you were concerned receive versus adopt. And, you know, you raise it here now, but I think Yalbert has pointed, you know, to his credit, he's pointed it out quite correctly. Council receives a parking management strategy final report and appendix, and that council adopts a parking strategy in principle. So I believe that covers it off, right? So it's not evasive, it's not ambiguous. There still has to be more work done, as our manager pointed out, short term, you know, medium term, long term. There's still a lot of work to be done, a lot of consultation that has to take place.
Yep.
So, to my mind, I think we're in good shape here.
Yeah.
I think our staff has worked hard on it, done their due diligence. I think the committee's done its due diligence. And, you know, Councilor Tart is here as well. I mean, we're going through this in different stages, different phases, and we're doing it in a very proactive, methodical way.
Okay.
I'm more than confident that with the resolution that's being presented to council.
Thank you.
More than confident.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Yankoff.
Thank you. So just to be clear, council isn't bound to do everything by approving it, because this is not the regulatory document. We do have the regulatory document, which will come forward in our zoning and development bylaw. So we are still doing it, but it's going to be coming forward in our regulatory zoning and development bylaw. So we are doing it, but that's where it comes in, right? That's why we can do what we're doing tonight with this document. Is that correct?
Michael?
That's correct, Madam Deputy. The intent here is, again, to approve the parking management strategy. So I think the language that we're using here tonight, you know, needs to include approve, because, again, staff are looking for direction to move forward and operationalize some of these recommendations. Council will still make decisions on moving forward with some of those initiatives as we work through that timeframe. So I think we're all saying the same thing here. You're right, the parking strategy is in a regulatory document. And so, you know, we will work through all those individual projects piece by piece with council support and with further consultation. The regulatory piece comes tied in with the zoning bylaw, with the actual parking reduction, which we committed to.
Okay. Councilor McAleer.
Yeah, no, I'd just like to share, I sit in Public Works as well, and I shared this comment at the Public Works Committee from the parking strategy. I felt the WSP group did a great job on their, on compiling the report, putting together. There's some great short-term recommendations there that I think that, you know, as a group, as Public Works, and hopefully council ultimately approves. And so I think I'm quite comfortable with, I guess we've got some semantics going here, but in general, I'm quite confident that adopting it, or principle, or whatever term you want to use, that it's going to meet the criteria of the half funding. But not only that, but I just think it's a good guiding document for our parking strategy solutions going forward.
Okay. Questions called? All in favor? 8-0. That's it there, Councilor Twill. Thank you. Next report is Human Resources. Councilor Norman Beck.
So the Human Resources met on July 7th. The minutes of the meeting are in your package, and there's one resolution anticipated for your consideration. Any questions? I will do my best to answer them, and our manager, Emily McLeod, is here as well.
Okay. Looks good. There is a resolution? Okay, can you read the resolution, Mr.
I can, Your Worship.
McConnell?
Human Resources Resolution Number 1, moved by Councillor Norman Beck and seconded by Councillor Julie McCabe. Let it resolve that Council approves the proposed revisions to the Occupational Health and Safety Policy Number P-HR-2 as per attached.
Okay. Questions called? All in favor? Okay, we're down to 7. Frank, we're trying to keep quorum for Parks and Recreation. Okay, that's it? Oh, no. Councilor Matard, did you want to
Ready for my
present your report?
Just- Exactly.
Oh,
Thank you very
good. Thank you, Councilor Beck. Councilor Matard.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. The Strategic Priorities, Communication, and Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee met on June 25th of 2026. The draft minutes are included in your package, and there is one resolution for your consideration this evening. If there's any questions pertaining to my report, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you.
Seeing none, do you want to read the resolution? CAO?
Your Worship, Strategic Priorities, Communications, and Intergovernmental Cooperation, Resolution Number 1, moved by Councillor Justin Matart and seconded by Deputy Mayor Lanny Yankoff. Let it be resolved that whereas the loss of the Charlottetown Farmers Market in December 25th, 2025 created significant hardship for many farmers, producers, and craftspeople who rely on market for their livelihoods. And whereas since it opened on Belvedere Avenue in 1984, the farmers market has become an important gathering place for both residents and visitors. And whereas the farmers market is a key part of the social and economic fabric of the city of Charlottetown, connecting urban residents with rural producers, strengthening local food systems, and supporting economic resilience. And whereas the farmers market is currently operating from a temporary location with approximately 40 vendors compared to more than 60 vendors at their former location on Belvedere Avenue, and whereas vendors are now selling their goods in smaller spaces, resulting in reduced sales and lower revenues, and are facing uncertainty about their future and their ability to return to their existing site. Therefore, let it be resolved that the City of Charlottetown, while working collaborative with other levels of government and economic development partners, support and advocate the rebuilding of the existing and/or new Charlottetown Farmers Market.
Thank you. Councilor Matard?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to say, as the committee, we agreed to bring this forward in support of the farmers market community and the vendors. At the time of which we were discussing this at our committee level, there was still some uncertainty as to whether or not the farmers market community could return to Belvedere Avenue location. But I think even as early as that day, or that evening, it was released in the media that unfortunately they will not be returning there. So I think the efforts here for us was to be a partner, to advocate on their behalf and other levels of government, whether that be provincial, federal, and other agencies that might able to help support. So this is the way of our level of government to show our support in finding a new home for the farmers market and do what we can do. I'm not sure where we stand right now with the return to Belvedere Avenue. I think that is under review, but according to the organizers of the farmers market, from what I read, I think they're not going to be returning. So it added another level of urgency and concern for that community to find a place. So I hope we as a council and mayor and council and city administration, we can collectively put our heads together, think of some ideas that we may be able to propose and support whatever's needed to return the farmers market to its full capacity and what is, because we certainly appreciate those who stepped up on, I think, North River Road, and I apologize for not knowing exactly who the name of that.
John Rowe.
John
Rowe.
John Rowe. They've done a fantastic job in supporting that, but I think they'd like to return to their full scope operation somewhere within Charlottetown. So I just wanted to add some more context to why we're bringing that forward here today as a supporting resolution. Thank you,
sir. Councilor Beck?
I think sometimes music sort of makes you think of what's going on in real life. And I think of a famous song by Joni Mitchell years ago. He said, doesn't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? And I think that's certainly the case with the Charlottetown Farmers Market. Every time I drive by there, I have this personal lament that it happened and that we don't have it. And as part of my work on the Capital Cities Organization, Canadian Capital Cities Organization I sit on, when I'm in all those cities, one of their proud proudest pieces is a farmer's market. And a market that supplies, that connects the rural community to the city community, does all the things that we know that the Charlottetown Farmers Market does. So I fully support the letter. I would even more fully support trying to find an avenue back to Belvedere Avenue. I would like to see us exhaust beyond any measurable resolution, make that the focus of where we try to get to. I don't know the details on what's involved. I don't know the particulars of it. I don't know how to get there, but I would love to see us return to that, to make that the kind of, because it's an institution in our city. Let's be honest, it has been. And I think the fact that we don't have it anymore, not only the vendors who have benefited greatly from it, but the residents of the community are missing out. And I would love to see if we, do whatever we can do to try and restore that, put it back in Belvedere Avenue, and bring back the little gem that is the farmer's market as we have known it for many years. So fully supportive of the letter. Let's see if we can get it done that way.
Thank you, sir. Councillor McAleer.
Yeah, yeah, likewise. I'm certainly very supportive of the resolution, and I'd probably maybe digress a little bit to say I'm very interested, and I plan to run in the next election, and if I'm successful, I'd very much like to be a part of, or a catalyst, or an advocate for the this market to potentially return on that location. And if that means taking a bigger look at that whole experimental farm and the tank farm and what's there, and you know, a proper capacity market, part of that footprint, along with who knows what else in terms of the development, but that needs some major stakeholders at the table. You know, the Indigenous, the whole group, but get the feds and the city and the province, and this could be a great catalyst for the whole redevelopment potentially of that area. So that's just a rant. Thank you.
No, appreciate it. Councillor Matart, I was advised that construction started in 1984. It opened in 1985. So can we change 1980? Just change that? That's all. Yeah. 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 And it was Tom McMillan who was the MP that got that piece of land out of experimental farm. Question? All in favor? Okay. Thank you, Councilor Mattar. Thank you very much. We have Parks, Recreation, Leisure Activities. Councilor Kevin Ramsey, Ward 5.
Thank you, Your Worship, Council. Parks, Recreation and Leisure met Monday, July 6th, and their draft minutes are in your package. We have two resolutions for your considerations. The Senior Engagement Committee met May 7th. The draft minutes are also in your package. The Youth Engagement Committee met June 10th. And the draft minutes are also included in your package. And just a few highlights, Your Worship, if I may. The multi-purpose field has started. They're out there, they're doing a little land survey today, and the trucks and the bulldozers and everything that has to move the soil and everything will be starting tomorrow or this week, I'm sure. We're asking for all the residents' patience for all the residents to have patience of the trucks going in and out of that lot, because there will be a lot of things moving. And we're really looking forward to it. And it's something that's been on the books for a while now. And we hope to have it going September sometime. All finished and everything, we're hoping. And the other thing is that I've been receiving a lot of emails in Parks and Recreation about the little parking lot between Central Field and the other ball field out there with the dust, and how activities is going on out there that shouldn't be going on there, like through the night. We have that rectified as of today, and with the Charlottetown Police and with Parks and Recreation staff and everything, so things are very well
And I got a few emails and phone calls today for thanking everybody for their part in it. So that's, I have two resolutions. Thank you.
Councillor McAleer? Councillor Beck?
Yeah, thank you for your report, Councillor Ramsey. Just wondered, great news, the announcement. Just wondered, can you share what the tender process looked like? Who's the successful contractor, and what did that look like? Or is that a fair question at this stage?
That's more operational, but I will pass it on to our manager, Frank Quinn. Frank?
Thank you. Through the chair, Councillor Ramsey, to Councillor McAleer. So the tender just closed on Friday, which was, we were still reviewing the actual submissions. So we just made our decision on Wednesday. The successful contractor was Island Coastal Services, and there was two other bids, Chapman's and Landmark. So successful. So we had 3 bids on it. And it did come in within budget, which was good for this phase. We still have to go out and do the tender for the artificial turf itself, which we're in the process of posting a tender right now. So,
Yeah, just for clarification, so this tender, basically layman's language, be site preparation?
it's the site preparation and all the groundwork, everything that goes underneath the actual turf, the drainage and the material that the unsuitable fill has to all be removed and all replaced with the shale fill, then your gravel, different types of drainage gravel, and then it's ready to put your turf on top of it.
Okay.
Sorry, and it also includes the lights as well. Yes, the lights for the field.
Councillor Beck?
Yeah. I was just looking on page 327, and I noticed that there were some updates on Victoria Park skate course, golf course, multi-sport facility, pickleball courts, etc. Back a couple of months ago, I'd asked to bring the idea of exploring Rosemount, the park at Rosemount Avenue or Rosemount Street, whatever it is, to bring that to the Parks and Rec Committee for possible exploration to see if something that we could do there. I think that's an underused area that I think we could be looking at creating something in there. So, Councillor Ramsey, if we could put that back on for a future meeting, or if it was discussed, can you tell me if there was an update? And if not, could that go back on to a future meeting of Parks and Rec to see what can be done with that area? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Beck. Yes, we will certainly do that. I think we spoke about it off the record, Frank, when it was first brought up, but we'll certainly put it on the agenda for August. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Councillor McAleer?
Yeah, and just, is there any more of an update or status on the tennis courts, Victoria Park?
That was discussed a bit at our meeting the other day. Frank, would you like to sort of answer that one?
Sure, thank you, Chair Ramsey, through to Councillor McAleer. So, sorry, I just gotta read here to make sure I stay on course. So with regards to courts 4 to 8, right now, we have started discussions with the contractor and the engineering. So we're just working on identifying the most suitable course of action to address those deficiencies. And as of right now, there is a substantial holdback in place until we're able to come up with that solution that work addressed. As for courts 1 and 3, right now we are working on completing upgrades to those courts. Right now, what that upgrades will include is removing the existing asphalt, leveling the surface, and then installing 2 new layers of asphalt to the courts, and then adding the acrylic court surface and the lining, and then completing fence upgrades. Right now, the engineering firm has been hired, and they've completed the review of the courts, and they're working on the tender document, which we expect to have later this week, and we will have out the second week of July. So we'll hopefully, possibly later this week, we'll have out with construction to commence late July, early August. And we're pushing that along because we want to have that work done to courts 1 to 3 before we start to do addressing any of the deficiency work on courts 4 to 8.
Okay. Resolution? Oh, Councillor Ramsey?
Just a footnote on that too, Your Worship. We did bring it up at Parks and Recreation for the tennis courts. I know there's a lot of talk for the last couple of years. We're hoping that once it's done, that we won't have to look at it for at least probably 10 to 15 years, that it's going to be done properly this time, and we're hoping everything's going to be looked after. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Parks, Recreation, and Leisure Activities Resolution Number 1, moved by Councillor Kevin Ramsey and seconded by Councillor Terry Bernard. Let it resolve that the City of Charlottetown grants permission to the Clauda Holdings, Inc. to serve alcohol at Confederation Landing during a private corporate event on September 19th, 2026, from 5 p.m. until 11 p.m., with the last call for alcohol at 10:45 p.m.
Okay, Councillor McTaggart and Councillor Beck.
Thank you, Your Worship. To the chair, the question I have is more of a process question, possibly. Excuse me. So when an applicant comes in, and so in this case, we look at it says a national private corporate event. So that's the entity here. They're holding the event, and they have catering coming in through Clauda Holdings, who's a separate entity. So Clauda Holdings, are they the ones that are submitting the application for the event, or is it submitting just the application to serve alcohol that they cater at the event? And the reason I ask that, because I'm questioning why the level of redaction and non-clarity around what comprises the entity that we're referring to as the National Private Corporate Event. And as a council who approving this, should we know in advance of that who that entity is, as opposed to Clauda Holdings? Or are we holding Clauda Holdings accountable for whatever may come out of this in that sense? Am I asking that question clearly? I guess it's kind of two different players here, and I'm trying to figure out why we're redacting one and get a better understanding of that process.
Okay, Councillor Ramsey.
I think I might understand your question. You're basically looking at the names, who's who in the zoo, right? And who wants this, and who's sponsoring it, and who's the whole convention for? Frank, maybe since you have more information on it, if you don't mind, Councillor McTaggart? No, it's fine.
So through Chair Ramsey to Councillor Mattard. So Meetings PEI Meet PEI, they've actually secured this national private event. It is a reputable event. It's not sort of our position to announce that. The event itself will announce that they're coming here. They have engaged Cladding Holdings to actually cater the event, so they're a reputable company. So they're the one who needs to serve the alcohol. This is an acceptable event in the park. It's a private function. We usually, let's say, if we have a group that's wanting to have a wedding in the park, we won't necessarily divulge, who the people are getting married. If you want to see who's getting married, you could drop down the park. This could be announced by the actual organization or by Meet PEI, but it's not necessarily our role unless, and at the time they didn't want us to divulge it because they still hadn't announced it. So if we get to a point where they come to us and say, yes, we don't have an issue with you saying who the event is, we can. But usually we have to have the permission from the event organizer. So we have what we're required to is actually to approve a liquor license for Cladding Holdings so they can actually serve alcohol at this event.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor McTaggart.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Frank. So yeah, that does answer it to some degree. I guess the next question I would have is, so is the city administration aware who the national event, who Meet PEI is bringing? And if so, are you confident in the credibility and all of the things that come along with that? Because I've seen where we've seen in the past where we have had an event there that didn't look very favorable on the city, and and maybe for whatever reason, lack of due diligence, I don't know, I'm not here to judge that situation in that way, but, so I just want to make sure that as council, I read this as I'm voting on Claudia Holdings to have a liquor license to do something in the park, period. However, there's another entity involved here that we don't know who we're associating that with. Sounds like you may know who it is, or the city administration knows who it is, and you're accepting of that. And there might be a public announcement about it in the future. Is that understanding my correctly?
Yeah, so that would be correct, Councilman Tarrant. So it's an annual conference, and Meetings PEI has, secured this as a destination here, secured the group here, and it is a corporate group. We're very confident that it's not like it's a sit-down dinner event, so it's not like a concert event or something else. So it is, and I guess it's sort of unique. Most times, the organization will not have an issue with us releasing their name, but at the time when this booking came in, they didn't want to us. If we're allowed to, I can ask the question if they're okay with us releasing, but the private corporate event wanted to, I think, announce it themselves. And when the event happens,
I'm
people
going
can see.
to trust the judgment on this one for the city and just digress here. Thank you.
I'll call a point of order because
Could you just raise it?
Yep, I can
Are you-
raise,
do
stand
you wanna-
up.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that if this is something that falls under closed meeting session, so if it's something that's not yet been disclosed to the public, and you're asking me to vote on it, then I say we go into closed session and we know exactly what we're voting in, then we can come back out and we can vote on it, because I'm not voting on anything until I know what I'm voting for. So that's my point of order, I guess. So I suggest that we take this item into closed session, get the questions answered that we need, respect that the applicant doesn't want their information disclosed yet to the public, and then we know, then we can vote informed.
Okay, so there's a point of order on the table, on the floor. Are you here, Wayne, to speak to this point of order? Councillor Ramsey, is that all right he speaks? Yeah?
Yeah, Your Worship, through the chair, this event obviously is being managed through Parks and Recreation because it's park green space, but I would just add further to what Frank has indicated that meetings, Prince Edward Island has attracted this specific event, and oftentimes events select a destination because of the experiences that they can have when they're in the city of choice. And in this instance, it's a highly reputable national organization. It's not a public event. The delegates would attend a dinner in a tent in Confederation Landing, so it's as much the experience and the ambiance and the location of their choice. So there wouldn't be a public announcement around the event because it's specific to the delegates of a national conference. And again, it is highly reputable, but we're not in a position to say because it's not our event.
So, Wayne, on her point of order, if it can't be openly disclosed, could her request go ahead to go into the closed session and address that through that form?
Do we vote on that?
That's what we're going to do, yeah.
Your Worship, I see no reason why that can't happen.
So is council willing to go?
I'll second that.
Will you second that? Okay. It's just, again, I'm not trying to usurp what's being said here, but I think there's some concern, and Councillor Matart raised it. So who's in, and it's seconded by Councillor Beck. All in favor of going into a closed session? Okay, we're going to go into a closed session, 7-0. So just to clarify, going into the closed session was to deal with an item regarding the Confederation Landing and a private event. And it fell under Section 119, subsection 1E, a matter still under consideration in which the council has not yet publicly announced a decision and about which discussion in public would likely prejudice a municipality's ability to carry out its negotiations. So we're back in the open meeting, and we have the resolution on the floor. Thank you, sir. Questions? Want to read?
Yeah, we read the resolution.
Questions called? Okay. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay. You have another one too, sir?
I do, Your Worship. Parks, Recreation, and Leisure Activities Resolution Number 2, moved by Councillor Kevin Ramsey and seconded by Councillor Terry Bernard. Let it be resolved the council supports staff proceeding with an in-depth review to gather the necessary information regarding the potential development of a curling facility in Charlottetown. And that upon completion of this review, the department will report back to the Parks, Recreation, and Leisure Activities Committee with recommended next steps for council's consideration.
Councillor Ramsey?
Thank you, Your Worship. This was brought up at our Parks and Recreation meeting. We were thinking about looking reports and that, and Councilman Erd said the right thing. He said, let's get a resolution, bring it to council before we invest any more time and effort from our staff, whether we want a curling facility or not. It's either a yes or a no. If we want staff to explore funding, property, the whole 9 yards, or are we just going to drop it? So it was basically a yes or no. Thank you very much.
Councillor Matart, Councillor Beck, Councillor McAleer.
Thank you, Your Worship. To the chair, to kind of just address your comment about whether we want a curling facility or not, I think it's certainly an intriguing opportunity for the city of Charlottetown to have a curling facility to call our own. I guess as we're coming to the end of this term of this council, and we're not in budget discussions, and I'm not sure, if there's appetite for $30, $40, $50 million curling facility at this point in time. So I don't know if we would spend the upfront effort when we talk about having staff proceed with an in-depth review. That costs time, money, and effort as well for the staff to do that, amongst all the other priorities that we are trying to move forward in this term and obviously into the future. So I'm in favor of, the potential for a curling facility in Charlottetown. I think there's a lot of work that needs to go on that, and a lot of, will and desire by council to want to entertain that. I guess we go back to times before I got here when we were thinking of Simmons or the Sherwood Rec Center. We're starting to see those come to fruition. We put a lot of time. So when we talk about this, when we talk about an in-depth review, does that mean the staff generally doing that themselves, or bringing in a consulting firm and spending $300,000 to tell us something along those lines? Because I'm not thinking I'm entertaining that idea right now. But if staff has the time on their hands to do an in-depth review and gather the necessary information, have at it. But I don't know if that's available at this point in time. That's just my comments, and certainly support the curling idea. Just when is the right place and the right time.
Councillor Ramsey.
Yes, we all support, and we all would love to have our own curling facility. And I think with staff, Frank, I don't know if we ever looked at having consultants come in yet or not, because we have a report already presented to us from economic development, and it wouldn't be a $30 or $40 million project. Because in that report, I don't think all council have seen it, but it's probably 10.4, 10.5. So in my view, we're looking at funding from city, province, and feds to handle this project. But as far as the in-depth research and everything, Frank, I don't know if we'd have to have another meeting on whether council wants to have staff look into it or just someone else.
So through the chair to Councilor Matart. So in the resolution, it says the council supports staff proceeding. So purposely, I put that in there, that it is staff that's going to do this. And we're going to make the time, is what I'm doing, and indicating that we're not going to have this to council until probably in November timeframe. So it's going to take us some time. And it's just, we want to, all the information that has been, that we've been presented with, we want to look at other information to make sure we have updated information, look to see what there is for funding opportunities out there, and see what as well, see the business case for a curling club and all that as well. So it's just so we have a lot more information that we can bring back to council, so council then can have a more informed decision if they want to, if this is something they want to move forward in the future. And like you said, I realize this council is going to be coming to an end of a term, so it will potentially require capital dollars if council decides to move forward, and what might be, future council's decisions. So,
Councillor Bernard.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, just to reiterate, I guess. So the thought was, and there was some rumors that some councils were against this. So, we wanted to see where council sat on this. We had, I think it was 1,147 responses when we did the survey. We have the mock-up. We have the cost estimate at $10.3 million. So before staff goes and does a lot of work, if council's not in favor of this moving ahead, then we thought it was appropriate to bring it here and make sure that we had support for council to spend that time to review the information that they've received from the Charlottetown Curling Club. The breakdown, hopefully, it's a 10. Right now, it's the updated cost was 10.3 million. So if we get $3 million from the federal government, $3 million from the province, and we put $3 million in, and Charlottetown Curling has between $1.5 and $2 million would cover the cost. So, but the due diligence should be done. So we want council, we want the Parks and Rec Committee to move on that to get that information and update it. I thought it was appropriate to bring it here, get council permission. Thank you.
Councillor McAleer.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Ramsey, for your report, information on. Just on the on that, Councillor McKinnon left the meeting, but at the last meeting he raised a question about the survey, and 1,100 or whatever was a substantial number. From what I understand, that's probably a high number for surveys in general. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but and I think, were we hoping it was going to be part of your process to understand where those, where those surveys kind of came from? Were they city residents? Is it across the island? Is it, is there a way to, I guess, to determine the that data and who it represents in terms of people?
Councillor Ramsey.
Yeah, you're probably right. We asked for the survey, we got the survey out, the numbers come in, where they came from, we don't know. There could have been the same person hitting the button 4 times or not. So we don't know if it's all city residents. I asked that question, myself too. And but do you do another survey or it shouldn't be a complicated thing, as Councillor Bernard said. We're just wondering if we should ask staff to invest more time and energy into this, or is it a yes or no, really? We all love to have our own curling facility, but anyone who's been on council last time, it costs us a fair amount of cash too, because of the water and everything with the old curling club. Remember that, Your Worship? They couldn't pay their water bills and stuff. So is it going to be run by the city? Is it going to be run by a separate group? Things along that line, and that's things the staff has to figure out. They have to get up there and get in there. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor McKay.
Thanks. And one thing I'm thinking, we're just embarking into our new strategic plan too. And one thing we've been talking about as a council is we have the hierarchy strategic plan, but we really don't have a roadmap to how we're going to guide our strategic plan. And I think that most of our departments can start to look at some of that road mapping and what are our priorities for a city. Is it, we only have so many dollars, and a lot of our recreation dollars, I'm going to assume, probably draw from the same pool. But where are we lacking? We've had lots of discussion. We had the Cody Banks Arena. We did the design for that. Well, the design goes over here now because we don't have the money for that. Is that a priority? Where are we going in the next 5 years, or however long our strategic plan is sustainable? I'd like to see something like that for each department as we embark on the new strategic plan, which kind of clears the way for where priorities are for the city. Because we can talk about something every day. We've talked about cricket. We've talked, is this a regional opportunity where we look at partnering with Cornwall and Stratford? That's been a priority where I hear you talk about, Your Worship. So
all the
like,
time.
I think we need to really look at that strat plan, and is it now where we start that? I think they've started that process, but as the new council comes in, it'll really be the guide to how we, and where we want to be at that time.
Councillor Beck.
You stole my thunder. Councillor McCabe, exactly. Same sort of notes here. We're looking at a lot of major projects that are coming our way. Our CAO and our mayor, we've had recent discussions with the federal government, which are there's going to be information, I think, forthcoming about that at some point in time, potentially, so I'm not going to divulge what that is, but the nature is we're looking at CHIF, we're looking at the Build Canada Strong Fund and all those sorts of things. We have competing interests that are coming forth. I have total admiration and respect for the curling club, for the work that they've done, what they've meant to our community over the last number of years. I'm a sports person. I'd love to have everything. But I do agree that we have to start prioritizing and be a little more strategic in terms of what we are actually investing in. And at this point in time, I'm not ready to support the further work going into it. Not to say that it could not happen at some point down the road. But I think until we get some of these other bigger issues that we have to figure out first, we can maybe potentially look at that at some point in time. But right now, it's not a priority for me. And I say that with all due respect to the curling community who would like to see this come to pass. I would like to see us also look at a shared, I do know Stratford has kicked the tires. We have a rink out in Cornwall presently that a lot of people use, Charlottetown residents. I do know friends of mine who do that as well too. So if we can look at some kind of partnership there that might make sense, I think that would be the sort of exploration that I would support and a little bit more strategic in our investments. Thank you.
Councillor Bernard.
Touch on the survey, because I think as we proceed down this road, I believe, Frank, that there's public meetings that will go ahead once the design is done and the drawings are done. Do you not have public meetings to show the public before we make any further decisions on the facility?
Through to Councilor Barrett. So yeah, so if council decides that they want to actually proceed with this, then we would be, once we did a preliminary design, then we would actually go out to the public for their input as well. And it could even be that we're going out ahead of time to obtain public input before that. Like I said, this survey that was completed is just, it's one component of this. There could be a more in-depth survey that is recommended as part of our recommendation when we go through the process of reviewing everything, when bringing forward recommendation to council for consideration with all the information.
Thank you.
Councillor McAleer.
Yeah, just, anyway, I'm still stuck on the survey thing. Is it possible, yes or no, is it easy to determine that survey that we have, where it originated, like I say, are they city residents, are they out, is that easy to determine? Can anybody answer that, or is that somebody got to confirm that?
Councillor Ramsey, can you answer that?
I was just going to get her, Your Worship.
Okay.
If that's okay?
Thank you very much, sir. No, it's your call.
Miss Jessica Bradley.
Thank you, sir. Through the chair to Councillor McAleer. So to answer your question, through Charlottetown Hall, which is the platform which the survey was posted on, through an open survey, which in this case it was, you didn't require a username or registration in order to complete the survey. We cannot tell, it's not IP address based, so we have no way of knowing actually where those responses came from.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Beck.
Me? Yep. Yeah. I'm not questioning the survey or the results. I think if you did a survey with IP addresses known, you'd probably come up with similar findings. I don't think that's not really the issue for me. And going back to the design, if we go to the design phase, that means that we're endorsing the project. That's investing time and effort on our Parks and Recreation staff. It's a cost associated with getting the designs, hiring a company to come in and taking it to the public, say, here's where we're going with this. We did that with Simmons. We were pretty much going ahead with Simmons. You take it out to the public. We did that with the Cody Banks. We did that. That's an indication that we're going ahead with that because we are supportive of that idea. Is it now or is it 15 years down the road after we invest money into, who knows? We still haven't made that decision yet, but there are options available. If we go out to the public with a design, that's an indication that we're prepared to move down that road. So I think we have to be careful about what that messaging says. And right now, I'm not prepared to invest our Parks and Rec staff in time in working towards that. We're spending money on a design format that may or may not come to fruition.
CAO, did you raise your hand there? I couldn't see you there. A big monitor.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I just want council to kind of understand the resolution and that this is, if council was to endorse this, is just empowering staff to look at the feasibility and the viability of a current facility, which would take in a lot of the considerations that were all echoed here tonight. Funding opportunities, partners, regional opportunities. But until we explore those questions, we're no closer to a result. So, but again, as the chair had indicated, it could simply be a yes or no, that we're not going to invest time. But just wanted to put that out there for consideration.
Fully agree with the CAO. All we're doing is looking for information and then just tabulate that information and come back here and go through the appropriate standing committee or standing committees. Councilor McTaggart.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not to continue to belabor this, but, again, I'll go back to kind of what, my point of what I was trying to make earlier, and as Councillor McCabe said, it's looking at all of our priorities from a strategic perspective. I've been on council now for 4 years. I've heard of the North River Master Plan, University Master, none of those have been done, prioritized. We're focusing a lot. There's a lot being done from a recreation perspective, and that's great. But we also there's other priorities. I'm hearing the Queen Street Master Water Plan that we recently did. So there's all kinds of things that are happening. We need to sit down as a council and really start to prioritize what it is and where we want to focus our attention. And so I want to see this on a list of things to do down the road. I'm not prepared to send staff off to do a bunch of work on this, and when we don't even know if this is a priority of the city at this point in time or council. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it. Very supportive of curling, obviously, and recreation throughout the city. That's not what's up for debate here. It's about priorities and strategic planning for all initiatives, whether they're sports, recreation, infrastructure, environment, you name it. I think we need to start prioritizing our needs and wants.
Councilor McAleer.
Yeah, I share a lot of Councillor Beck's, I guess, sentiments on the thing, but perhaps, the resolution, I mean, I'm a sports fan like most people, I think, here in council, but maybe the resolution could be worded possibly different, that in addition, talking about partners and shared services and shared communities, that if the resolution was passed and had some different language in there, which is to include those discussions with our neighbours, Stratford, Cornwall. Anyway, that's.
Councilor Beck and Councilor Bernard.
Just quickly, I am appreciative of the approach that was taken. It was good to have this discussion, so whoever thought of that on the committee level, thank you for that. I think this was a good discussion to have, and I'm glad it happened. Thanks.
So, Councilor Bernard, do you want to wrap up your presentation?
Yeah, all I'm going to say is the whole idea of bringing this in was, does council want to support moving down the road, looking at a possible curling facility? Yeah. Yes or no? That's the bulk of this.
Yeah.
Yes or no? So it's just, then do we want council to do the due diligence? We're not saying we're going to go build it. We're not saying, but either we put it on as some work for them to do, to see it. It's basically just checking out the information that we got, when we've got a lot of good information from the community. And like I said earlier, they have the mock-up, they have the design, they have the costed out from reputable architects. So for us, it was just a matter of, there's no sense having our staff do all this work and then come back and say, council, I'm not supporting curling rink right now. So we're just asking council, do they support moving
forward.
ahead on a possible curling facility for
Want
sure?
to call the question?
Call the question.
Question's
What's it
called. All in favor of the resolution to support a council's consideration on a curling facility in Charlottetown? Please raise your hand. All in support? Okay. On against? 4-3, it's defeated. Okay,
That's my report, Your Worship.
okay.
The end of it, I should say.
Okay, our next item is water and wastewater. Who is doing that report? Do you want to do it? Josh here?
Thank you, Your
Josh.
Worship. I will step in this evening for Councillor Duran, who's not with us this evening, to give the Water and Sewer Utility Committee report to council from July 14th, 2026. Or let's say, sorry. So the Water and Sewer Utility Committee met on June 26, 2026, and the minutes have been included in your package. And there is one resolution for your consideration. If there's any questions regarding the resolution and/or the meeting package, I'll do my best to answer that for you in the absence of Councillor Duran.
Okay. CAO, you want to read the resolution, or do you have a question, Councillor Ramsey? Go ahead.
Yes, I do, Your Worship, and I watched Sewer and Water. I've been on it since 2019, and I was off it. When the first internet thing, that internet cable come up, I remember sitting there with him. And I watched your last meeting, and I'm saying to myself, why are we beating ourselves to death over this thing? Is it better for us as a city corporation to walk away from it since it's been over 6 years when it's supposed to be 6 months? And like as I said, I follow your meetings and I watched it online, and I'm saying to myself, why are we tormenting ourselves over this? And the same question's been asked at your meeting since I've been there in 2019, and it's just, I don't know, it just seems like we're going down a road where there's no end here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Bedard?
Thank you, Councillor Ramsey, for that. I'm not sure if there was a direct question there, more of just you're giving your thoughts and perspectives and frustration, as you just said, on that topic. So I think, the committee has them same sentiment of frustration around landing the plane on this particular file. I don't know where we are right now. I don't know where we're going. We've certainly, the last committee meeting, we've instructed the management to go back and yet again get further information, looking to get some collaboration and conversations going again with both the UCC, legal, et cetera, et cetera. Josh is here, and I'm not sure, Josh, if there's, like I said, I'm not sure if Councillor Ramsey had a question in there, more so than expressing his frustration over this file, as we have been doing for quite some time, and always want to make sure and point out that, you're doing a great job trying to move that forward, and unfortunately, you're just up against circumstances that are out of your control. So again, if you want to add anything to his comment, great, but I don't have any answers for you other than time will tell here, I guess, Councillor Ramsey, and to the rest of council as where this file is going to land and what decisions are going to have to be made. But I agree and said publicly as well, I think we're going to have to start coming down here and putting the rubber on the road and figuring out, what we're doing next year, because this is going on much too long for sure.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Josh or Mr. McEwen?
Anybody want to add
Do
anything
you
to
wish
it?
to add anything? Yep.
Thank you.
CAO, do you want to enter?
Yes, Your Worship. I just want to ensure council that efforts by senior staff and are geared to, getting the best outcome for the city. This has been a difficult situation, but we want to make sure that our efforts, no matter what the outcome, are, in the best interest of the city.
Okay, Councillor Ramsey?
Yeah, just to follow up, and I'm not blaming staff or not blaming senior management or anything along that line. I'm just wondering, when do you cut your ties, or when does the project start? It's just, because as I said, that was my only question, is that, and I'm not blaming Josh or Richard or anything like that, but I was there, Richard, when you were manager, when this was all brought to us, and it's supposed to be a benefit for the city, and after 6 years, there's no benefits coming to us, in my view. Maybe there is, I don't know, but if we're not going to be able to hook this thing up or sign the agreement, I mean, there's something missing here, after 6 years? And it's only supposed to be 6 months, because Councillor Drawn was chair and I was on that committee. Thank you.
You want to weigh in?
Yeah, sure do. So I sit on public work, or on sewer and water, and on this file, and we all know the frustration, but I know at our last committee meeting, Mayor Brown, I think you had put on the table that the sewer and committee meeting meet again, in addition to the meeting we just had, just on this file exclusively, and that never happened. So I don't know if that is still in the queue to happen. I hope it is. And on a personal note, I'd like to see, if that does happen, I think it's time to put a deadline on this, on this file, and I'd like for the senior staff to think about that. And if there is a deadline, what does that look like? Is it 3 months, is it 6 months, or is it year end? And we either fish or cut bait with the people that we're dealing with on this, and I think it needs an end date, and that's my suggestion. That's what I'll be advocating at committee. Thank you.
Yeah. If you look at your agenda, tomorrow, Wednesday, July 15th, there was a water and wastewater utility committee, but it was canceled, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So I didn't cancel it, so it was canceled, so we have to wait for a new meeting date, correct?
Yes, that was in conjunction or in discussion with the chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it for resolution? You have a resolution there, sir? Good. Go ahead.
One resolution, Your Worship, under water and sewer utility, moved by Councillor Justin McCartan, seconded by Councillor John McAleer. Let it be resolved, whereas the City of Charlottetown passed a policy resolution on April 10, 2000, that the City Council confirm its policy not to entertain applications for water service to properties outside the municipal boundary of the City of Charlottetown without first receiving approval from City Council to do so. Therefore, be it resolved that the City Council approves the request received for water service to the Provincial Firefighting School at 68 Miles Bolter Drive, Milton Station, PID number 283200 and 1054949. And be it further resolved that the costs associated with the development or any other future services and maintenance be paid by the property owner, and that due to the nature of operations, emergency service training facility, the standard 25% premium surcharge for service provided outside the City of Charlottetown municipal boundary be waived.
Okay, Councillor Beck.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. So this is the Provincial Firefighting School. Do various municipalities, like would Alberton Fire Department, Montague Fire Department, different agencies. Is this something that should be shared with other municipalities that use it?
Councillor Tart, do you want to answer that, or do you want to defer it to?
Thank you, Councillor Beck. I'm not sure I quite understand your question when you said, should it be shared? Should what? should
Just
be
let him answer, Counselor. Just let, he has to answer it first.
I'm not quite sure what I'm answering. Sorry.
Yeah, well, just respond to,
I'm not sure what
his
I'm
comment.
responding to. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that you asked if it was a provincial firefighting school used by various agencies, and I believe, just because I heard the chair of emergency services over there indicate that it was. So is that your question? Was it more to that? And then you said, should it be shared?
yeah, okay.
I don't know what your question was, so I apologize. Maybe you
Just-
can rephrase it.
Just
for me.
rephrase your question.
Okay, I'll rephrase it. So the cost is 25% surcharge that comes with extending the water out beyond where we do. So typically, if a developer requests that, we ask them to pay the charge. I assume that what we're doing here, the reason we're coming with the waiver is because it's a firefighting provincial system that we benefit from. So it's kind of like an in-kind contribution, it seems to me. So I'm wondering if that's what we're asking here, is are we waiving the fee because it's something that we are benefiting from as a municipality? Or is it something that should be cost shared with the users of the facility?
Got the question there, Counselor? Okay, there you are.
Thank you, Councillor Beck. That is a question I can't answer.
Okay.
So we did have this discussion at the committee level, and it was brought forward and suggested by the committee to waive the 25% fee due to the fact that it is a emergency service offering that we benefit from, certainly within the city of Charlottetown and our firefighters. So we thought that that would be an in-kind gesture that we could propose. So that was basically the rationale behind that. We do recognize that others who ask for the same thing, whether it be developers or property owners who wanted that, there is a charge. However, we felt that there was a delineation between the two of them, one being providing a public service and kind of one that we use and utilize every day here. So that was our rationale behind it. So we thought we'd bring it forward to council and to see if you felt the same. And if not, then we can certainly remove that part and go back to the standard 25% surcharge.
Counselor Bernard?
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, that's a 25% surcharge that we're waiving. They still pay the regular rate that residents of Charlottetown would pay. Yeah.
They're still paying the base charge for the water.
Okay.
Okay, did you want to clarify it? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just for the record, the question was addressed to the committee co-chair. So to answer that, Councillor Bernard, the answer is yes. All other aspects and components of that will follow the process as is. It'll just be the surcharge that would be waived through the resolution that's before you tonight. But yes, the hookups and rates that they pay would stay the
They
same.
pay the core rate,
Yeah,
base
correct.
rate. And it's essential service that we provide. Question?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, another comment?
Yeah.
Or
No,
question?
and again, I don't have a problem with that. I understand the in-kind part and that sort of thing. And I'm glad that it was clarified here that the base is being done and all that. What is the dollar value attached to the premium? To the surcharge, just for public record?
Councilor McTarr, do you have that figure?
Getting up and down here. No, I do not, Your Worship. So Josh, I'm going to hand that question over to you if you could. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We defer
Thank
to you, Josh, you, the manager.
Yes,
Maybe the
no,
director
thank-
can help you too.
Thank you for the question. So through the chair to the councillor, it is anticipated that their water bill for the year would be no more than $200 to $300. So the surcharge itself would be between $50 to $75. So it is very minimal.
We've clarified the costs. Good. Questions called? All in favor? Okay, 7-0. Okay, our esteemed clerk of meetings, Tracy has said that we have to vote on an extension. Is it all right to go ahead with the vote to extend? Yes. Yay? Yay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's it. And now we have Amy for finance. Councillor McAleer, do you want to get up and give us some background?
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Finance Audit Tender Administration Committee met on Tuesday, June 9th, 2026, and Wednesday, July 8th, 2026, for its regular meetings. There's no resolutions for your consideration. Respectfully submitted. I'll do my best to answer questions if there are any, and if I can't answer something, the capable manager Amy's here in the chamber to answer them. Thank you.
Such a good report, we don't even have a question. Couldn't get a better report than that, Amy. Thanks, John. Okay, last report, and then we go into new business, economic, tourism, and cultural development. Councillor Terry Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Your Worship, a number of highlights through our department. Capital City Canada Day celebrations were a tremendous success, Your Worship, and it attracted a record attendance this year. So we're pleased with that. A special thank you goes out to Charlotte, Jenna, and Vanessa for their outstanding work in making the event such a success. Celebrations continue through to July 4th. This was the first this year, where we continue through to July 4th with Discovery Charlottetown's inaugural Sundrift Sounds Festival, which extended the festival atmosphere and offered residents and visitors another opportunity to enjoy the holiday weekend. So, Your Worship, the first downtown farmers market of the season took place on July 5 at the Confederation Landing and will run through the summer. Charlottetown will host a number of events this month, including the Charlottetown Race Week, the Winslow Charlottetown Royals FC Soccer Tournament, and PEI Chess Festival and the PEI Pride Festival. Preparations are also underway for Natal Day weekend celebrations taking place July 30th to August 2nd. Events will include the Citizen Recognition and Make Our Hometown Beautiful Awards ceremony, a concert in partnership with PEI Sympathy Orchestra, the annual pancake breakfast, wellness activities at Charlottetown's birthday party. Your Worship, four PEI artists have been commissioned to design the vinyl wrap, as it was talked about here. We passed it earlier this morning early in the meeting in planning. Those vinyl wraps for traffic control, cabinets, intersections throughout the city. And there was a lot of comments, very, very positive comments when we did them last year. So we'll continue on with that. The artwork is currently progressing through the planning approval process and expected to be installed later this month. So, Your Worship, staff are working with Club Red Productions and Netflix Canada on filming of a new series in Prince Edward Island based on Carly Fortune's best-selling novel. This summer will be different. The production is expected to generate significant economic benefits through direct spending during filming and long-term tourism exposure. So, still lots of stuff going on, Your Worship, and staff's doing a great job. So if there's any questions on any of the items, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you.
I just want to say that Canada Day celebrations, I never saw a crowd so huge. It was, and they stayed there until the evening, and after the fireworks were canceled, they still stayed around, so it was amazing. And the next night, so we had Canada Day over 2 days, but it was well done, and well done to Charlotte, Jenna, and Vanessa Rice. It was great. Okay?
Thank you.
Did you want to say something there, CAO?
Oh, yes, Your Worship, I just wouldn't want to miss the opportunity to thank our fire and police services for their efforts in those 2 nights.
Thank you. So, new business. Can we bring up the resolution?
New business resolution number 1, Your Worship. The following appointments to the Remuneration and Allowances Commission as recommended by His Worship Mayor Philip Brown be approved. I'll need a mover and a seconder for those. Deputy Mayor?
Sure.
Councilor Matard, would you be a seconder? So moved by Deputy Mayor Lana Yankoff and seconded by Councilor Justin Matard. I'll read the resolution again, that the following appointments to the Remuneration Allowances Commission, as recommended by His Worship Mayor Philip Brown, be approved. Emile Gallant, Terry Hennessy, and Susan Willis.
Councillor Ramsey.
Do we have a background on these people?
Yeah, it's part of the package. Just
Oh,
scroll down.
No, I just went through it. I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
It's
I
on
apologize.
page 425.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't go that far. Thank you.
Question? All in favor? Okay, 7-0. Okay, and then we do have notice of motion. And can you read that notice of motion?
Your Worship, notice of motion. Councillor Beck is requesting that council adopt a bylaw specifically as it pertains to the role of the Chief Administration Officer, CAO for Charlottetown. It is anticipated that the proposed bylaw would strengthen municipal governance by incorporating the CAO's statutory responsibilities, establishing clear hiring and performance management processes, and define roles, reporting practices, and expectations between council and CAO.
Okay. Councillor Bernard? Well, that's, yeah, no, because, no, we opened that up. That, if you're looking at a procedural bylaw, correct? No, I'm just saying that notice of motions is just usually given notice, but we changed our procedural bylaw to allow for input. Go ahead.
So anyway, Councillor Beck and I have had this conversation a couple times. For me, I just don't see the need to have a bylaw. I mean, we have the CAO's job duties in the MGA, which the MGA supersedes any bylaw anyway. And you know, we go through a CAO review where all of council is involved in that. We come up with the criteria for the review. We're a full-service municipality, so there's more responsibility for our CAO compared to whether it's Stratford or Cornwall. So to me, I just don't understand why the need for a bylaw. When we have all the job description laid out in the MGA, and if there's things that this council wants to add to it, we're open to that. Where it becomes a bylaw, you've got to go through the public forum, you've got to go for first reading, second reading. And to me, right now it works, what we have in place. So, all right, thank you.
Councillor Beck.
Yeah, I think to answer your question, Councillor Bernard, it is a common practice in other jurisdictions. Summerside has a CAO bylaw. I'm speaking on the island. Stratford is a CAO bylaw. Cornwall is a CAO bylaw. And what it does is that, much like all of the bylaws we create, we extract what's in the MGA and we incorporate that into our own bylaw. And then we add to whatever it is that we want to add in addition to. The baseline has to be the MGA. That cannot change. For me, what the MGA tells us, it tells you what to do. What I would see our CAO bylaw doing is how do we go about doing that? And for me, that's kind of the need. I feel that we have a need to kind of outline that so everyone understands it. The public understands it. We as council understand it. We have a footprint, a blueprint to follow when it comes to hiring processes for our CAO. And all CAOs, future, right? When it comes to performance management of our CAO, when it comes to support for our CAO. And I think that's what we want to do, because we want our CAO to be successful. We want to have everything working as it should. And I think some of these mechanisms can help to provide support to a very difficult position. So that's kind of the reason, the rationale for it, amongst the other things that I outlined in there as well. Thank you.
Council will determine at the meeting, I'm thinking that it's this meeting, whether or not to advance the notice of motion to the relevant standing committee. So we have to identify the relevant standing committee. Is it human resources? Is it strategic priorities? Any thoughts? Can I just, sorry, Deputy, go ahead first.
you want me to stand?
No, no. You're,
I can.
okay.
I think everyone else stood. I'm not opposed to this. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Councillor Beck outlined it quite well. The only thing I'm wondering is that we have August, September, October, and November. We have 4 months left, and a new council's coming in. So why wouldn't we just, 3 months, why wouldn't we just fresh start it with the new council? Let them do it. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'll do whatever council wants, but, I mean, there's 3 months. We're not doing it in the summer. We've got a whole bunch of other things that have to be done, like zoning bylaw, heritage preservation, conservation bylaw. Like, I'm just thinking, like, start fresh with a new council, like you're doing with your remuneration that you have to do. Anyways, that's just my thoughts, but whatever council wants, I'm in.
Councillor Beck.
Yeah, I think the work of council and the work of staff continues, whether we're 3 months away or 3 years away. The work is to be done, and I think we are down the road. I think we're at a point of where I think we need this, and I think it's come back. To answer your question, I think it probably fits in HR to be, if it has to land somewhere, I think that might be where, but I'm not married to that idea. If it lands in strategic priorities, so be it. I really don't care, but if we can agree where we would want to designate that, I could recommend HR. I mean, that's my committee. I'm the one who initiated the notice of motion. I'm willing to kind of be the council rep, but it's not really an HR staffing position because it has nothing to do with the staffing positions. It's a council position. So where it lands, I really don't care.
Okay, Councillor Martin.
Yeah, it's just I'm not going to belabor it, but I did read some of their bylaws, and I don't see where it actually gives a lot of direction for any of that. But Summerside's bylaw was made before the MGA came out, right? So, right. So to me, when it's a full-service municipality, I just don't see where the bylaw will benefit, that's all. I just don't see the benefit of it. We have the MGA lays out what the job responsibilities are. We can change or add to them, as you said. I don't know if you need a bylaw to do that. I don't think you do. I think it's a little onerous on it, and I agree 100% with 3 months left. And maybe we do leave to a new council.
And it's a notice of motion. I don't think there's any deadline. Yeah, I don't think there's any deadline to it, is there?
Just that it has to be forward to a particular.
Appropriate for the committee. So to move it on, we need a vote.
Worship,
Just go ahead there.
yeah, I just, obviously,
Consensus.
there's, I just, before council says that, you know, I just don't feel this is the work of my staff. Like, if council's gonna undertake this, this should be the work of someone external.
Yeah.
That's,
Good? 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 All right with that, guys?
I don't care if it doesn't work.
No, but just move it forward? Is that all right? Okay. Move forward?
Where's it going?
So we're moving it forward to the office of the mayor to then, or are we moving it onto that committee to find a consultant? Like, what are we doing? Because it has to go somewhere. And I think we all agree with CAO McConnell that it's not for his staff to take on this. This is a council wants, if council wants this bylaw, then council has to use council's budget to either get MMP or whoever does that.
Correct? Correct?
So I don't know, like, as Councillor Beck said, so then where's it going from here then?
Councillor Countard?
Thank you, Your Worship. So maybe you'll recommend, you know, we did formulate I guess it was called a CAO Evaluation Committee, made up of certain members, passed a resolution for that, so we could continue the work of that committee to do so, or we could abolish or just continue the path that was designed to do, which was the performance management aspect, and create a secondary group that would focus on the outcomes of a CAO bylaw. So that keeps it with mayor and council and keeps it within our work that we would do and things that we need to move that forward. That'd be my recommendation.
Counselor Beck?
Yeah, this would be a little bit of a beg, borrowing, and stealing exercise. There's not a lot of, I think this is work that we could do ourselves. If we're looking to put it on that committee, I think we could do it. And I think it could be handled without, I agree with the chief that it's not something that we should be tasking staff with. It is independent from them. I just want a landing spot. I want to have agreement that we go forward to pursue it. Makes sense, since we already have that committee established, and we could put it there. Let that committee do the legwork, come back to council with recommendations, and then we decide what we eventually land on. So I would be supportive of moving it back to that
CAO.
CAO
Performance Evaluation Ad Hoc
Committee. And we look at regrouping and working through that process.
Perfect. Good?
That's
Okay.
that's what we have to figure out.
Oh, no, it's, we got quorum. Okay, so,
The call of council, because then, because the next thing you're gonna hear is, well, I wasn't there, so I didn't vote for that. It's so frustrating to see that.
That's there.
Let's have a vote.
no, we're going. Guys, we get quorum, and we're seven,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's more of a consensus.
yeah. Let's, yeah, let's find out. You want to go with it? No.
What are we saying no to?
Going forward to the CAO performance evaluation.
I'm saying no till after.
Okay. Okay, it's no. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, forward.
Just can we
Yeah.
reiterate who voted for and who voted
Yep.
against on that?
They're not voting this, it's council.
So
Yeah.
it's 3-4.
Yeah,
I think he should.
yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah,
I
right,
will.
it is
I
a mayor
will.
and council,
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
will. No, no, no.
No, this is a mayor and council vote,
No.
that's all right.
It's the same with the hiring, right?
So, Brown, Bernard, McAleer, Ramsey, Deputy Mayor, against, for, Matart, Beck, and McCabe. Good? Good to move on? Okay. I just need a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Thank you, Karen, thank you.